Chastity, the social media influencer and rockstar killer. Maria, from Miami. And Lucy, aspiring actress. Sydney, hip-hop lover and writer, so I'm told. And my quiet one, Mackenzie. Well, hello, ladies. I'm Bella. I have a question for everyone. Why do you think rich men cheat? Control.
I'm going home.
Don't go.
Attention.
You bring the total package to the table. You just need the right friends.
Are you my friend?
No, but you can be mine.
And power.
I stuck my neck out for you.
Thank you!
And I pulled the strings to get you onto this show.
Take all three away, and he becomes desperate.
So, what's with the apples?
Well, it represents knowledge, wisdom, beauty, and power. Here, you will learn how to gain ownership of all.
I'm gonna send you the money for the ticket, and I already have your room set up at the Palms.
You do that, babe.
Because once you have possession of the apple, no man alive will have power over you.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh, it's not easy.
Brett, look, I'm sorry.
Save it! Save it!
I get no auditions.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I get no callbacks.
I really need to get upstairs. They stole all my money.
I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but you're no better than the rest of us.
Right now, they have a do not disturb until this afternoon. If they call you, great.
How is he gonna call me if he doesn't?
If not, charge it to the game.
Make no mistake, ladies. In order to succeed in this game, you must be willing to play it out till the very end.
This business is all types of savage. What are you doing?
But if you follow my blueprints, I guarantee you will become a millionaire within the next 3 years. Possibly way earlier. So, are you ready to take that step?
Another day, another dollar. Ain't about money, don't you holla. 100 miles and racing, and that money conversation been my only motivation, yeah.
I'm Yoshi Lomax, superstar attorney at law and fugitive.
So, you're the famous Yoshi Lomax.
Probably more infamous. I'm on the run from the federal government for crimes that I didn't commit.
Gentlemen, I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Sharon Starr. I'll be taking things from here.
Not to mention being on the hit list of at least 3 of Miami's major crime bosses.
I wanted to apologize in person for leaving so abruptly last night.
Welcome back.
That's Vladimir Kuznetsov, a Russian crime boss. He's been a suspect in over a dozen missing person cases.
I mean, I didn't get here to be this successful for doing things the American way.
I need a list of the jury for my case with Hanju.
Oh, really? What's that worth to you? Oh my God, you're such a... Mr. Santana is to be released upon processing.
So what do you know about Sheldon Chisholm?
What do you want to know about him?
I really need to know if you're going to take my case. I don't have time to play, Miss Lomax.
Money is not a problem.
You know anything about his case?
It's being handled by agents in my field office.
I've learned that in this game of life, in order to win...
Ready to dance?
You gotta play dirty. You might look at me and see a beautiful, confident, successful woman.
Congratulations, counselor. Yet another win.
But underneath, I'm flawed. I'm broken. And I'm scared. So I have no choice but to run. until I can find a way to clear my name.
Miss Lomax is now considered a fugitive of the United States. Catching fugitives is my business, which makes her my suspect. You and your associates are relieved.
Look, she killed one of our own.
But I will not give up.
All right, people, listen up. Get a picture of Miss Lomax out there so the public knows what she looks like.
I will not give in.
Okay. People, we got a game plan. Let's break and execute.
I will not get caught.
Time to go hunt.
Up, y'all, this is Rayon Lawrence, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Catherine Nunez, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director and the Council on the IE Network.
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Liu, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Capri, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
It's Vicky Judy, Orange is the New Black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it live.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks. You are listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Nothing more, nothing less. What up? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk, Directing the Jedi Council. I am the Director. We'll be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk is brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. You guessed it. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on youtube.com/IE Network TV and Twitter, and of course the social network itself, Facebook, aka Meta. Shout out to the chat room, of course, and shout out to everybody. We just got a new subscriber, Jessica English. Welcome, or as we say, welcome to the IE Network crew. Thank you for upgrading, new member or whatever she did. I don't know if she upgraded or if she's just a new member. Thank you very much. Jimmy Yates in the building. What up, brother? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Joseph Tanner, of course, always holding it down. All right. From Orlando, Florida. I didn't know Joseph was in Orlando. I lived in Orlando for 7 years. I didn't know he was there. Anyhow, welcome to Real Talk, man. Thanks for joining us. We got some updated news on Mr. Jonathan Majors. We'll get into that a little bit later. That's one of the main topics, plus all types of other movie news that's going on. But there's definitely this new updated information could really make a nice break in this case, possibly. We'll see. We're gonna have to we need to start ranking these this tournament, ranking the for the TV best TV theme songs tournament. I don't know. I might be something that we share with you guys on air, where we start ranking them, or at least giving some sort of idea. Then we'll come up with the final rankings. Get y'all's feedback on it. But we're gearing up to do a tournament for TV's hottest theme song, for the best TV theme song of all time. Field of 64 brackets, all of that's all good. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna make sure this one is interactive with people's, a lot of the people feedback. We're trying to develop a voting system for the people, because we're not the only 3 people in this world that watch TV theme songs or watch TV shows, and all of them had theme songs. So there's a lot of them that we all grew up with and we love. So we'll get into that as well, plus everything else. But we also always started off with our weekend recap, brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com for the weekend of April 21st to April 23rd. Number 5, Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like the movie phone guy. Number 5, Dungeons and Dragons. Made $5.5 million this weekend, bringing the total to $178 million. And then number 4, John Wick Chapter 4, rated R. Your young cats ain't gonna know what the hell I'm doing. Everybody who's, Generation X, people my age, over 30, you'll know exactly what I'm doing when I do this voice. So, John Wick Chapter 4, rated R. That's made, how much did John Wick make this weekend? 5.8 million extra, bringing the total to worldwide $358 million worldwide. Number 3, The Covenant, rated R. I think that's rated R, right? No, it might be. That's that Jake Gyllenhaal joint. That's Guy Ritchie's film. That was only released domestically because I didn't think this would be like an international release too much. This is like a war film. They're like in Afghanistan. So that movie only made about $6 million. I think it just opened on the 21st. It just opened this weekend. Then we have number 2, Evil Dead Rise, rated R. Made $24 million. Made worldwide $42 million. The Evil Dead franchise, the newest installment. And number 1, the Super Mario Brothers movie. What is that? Rated PG? I don't know what is that. And that made $59.9 million over the weekend, bringing the worldwide total to a whopping, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm reading that right, $875 million. Holy moly. That's up. And there you have it. That is your weekend recap, brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com. All right. Wow. That's, like we said before about Super Mario Brothers, man. It made a lot of money. Man, it might hit a billy. It's at 800 something million now. It just might hit that billy. They probably they're trying to reset the standard, for these films now, trying to get people back into the theaters, back outside. Evil Dead Rise, that's a good, nice little opening for the first week. For a horror film, 24 million, 42 worldwide, not bad. Opened in 3,402 theaters. Okay. Super Mario Brothers surprised me a little bit, but not surprised. That's rated PG. Right. It's been released for 19 days, not even 20 days yet. 19 days, and it's 3/4 of the way to 1 billion. Impressive. Impressive. Most impressive, as Darth Vader would say. So, yeah, man. We talk about some trending topics. Get my Jedi Council in here. I know Kev is joining us soon. But Ralph, you in the building. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back. Welcome back. Is that gonna be one of the songs, right? Are you muted? I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? What the heck? Give me a second.
Wait a minute. I see what it was. It was on mute.
He was on mute.
Hello,
okay,
everybody.
I'm like, why can't I hear you? Yeah, you were muted. All right,
Hello,
cool.
everybody. All right. I literally am back. I just got back from Chicago about 2 hours ago. So
Right. It was that was Exotica Chicago, right?
Yes. You know, it snowed there on Saturday. I was like, whoa.
It snowed.
Woke up and it was snowing. The day before, it was like 60 degrees. And the next day I woke up, I got a phone call, said, Ralph, it's snowing outside. I was like, what? Open my windows out, snow.
Wow.
Like, what the hell, man? What the hell?
Crazy. Well, I mean, how did it go? Because did that mess anything up as far as people coming out?
All right, I'm gonna tell you a story. Right, all stories I ever tell people are true. I'm going to Chicago on Thursday. Right, flying through the air. You know, got my Chex Mix and my Dr. Pepper. I'm chilling in the plane. Pod comes on. He says, "Attention, everybody! Due to severe weather in Chicago, we're going to stay up here in the air a little bit longer." Right? Okay, no problem. So I'm taking like a quick cat nap, like, right? He comes back on the air. I didn't realize he was a man that long. He said, "Attention, passengers, we're landing to refuel the plane." And I was like, "Refuel? What?" We were running out of fuel, so we had to land in Grand Rapids, Michigan, to refuel the plane. We landed. We was on the tarmac about a half hour, and then we was on to Chicago. Right, because Chicago was having really bad weather. Like the airport was getting lightning strikes, so they had suspended all traffic going into Chicago. Right, get to Chicago, it's all nice and bright and sunny, and it didn't even look like anything was happening. Like, what the hell was up for? So many people this weekend were delayed because of this bad weather on Friday. Some people didn't even make it. Their entire flight got canceled, and they couldn't even make it up there. But it was just all, and then as we were landing, you know, come down, wheels hit down, you know, the guy goes into full power to be full power reverse. The wing was like this. Woo. The wind was pushing the plane as we were landing. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die on this plane today.
Oh God.
We're going to roll off the tarmac into the tower or something. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
what's up?
With that, what we experienced about the other side of that weather on Saturday, because I was sitting on my couch and I was talking to my daughter's father, because he came to pick her up, and I'm talking to him and I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on outside?
You mean
the
your
rain didn't even start yet. My granddaughter's father.
You say your daughter's father? Wouldn't that be you?
I had to think about it a second.
Wouldn't that be you? Your daughter's father?
Yeah.
I had to think about that a second. I was like, wait, what?
No, well, that still could happen if, in my
she
case,
was your step.
You know,
she was your stepdaughter.
Right, if it was your stepdaughter,
right.
Right, exactly. It's possible
Yeah.
if that was your stepdaughter. Yeah.
But at any rate, where he was sitting is where our computer desk is, or my daughter's desk is, and then you can look out my front window, and it looked like Desert Storm when George Bush released the hell on Saddam Hussein, and they were firing back into the air, and the light was just lighting up. That's what the lightning looked like. Like,
You mean
it was
when
just
he?
orange outside.
You mean when he George Bush the button?
Yeah, exactly. When he George Bush the button.
Yeah, you know how that go. That's a great line from Jay-Z. Y'all niggas be fronting that George Bush the button.
Push the button. Yo, and when he George Bush the button, man, my God. And that's what outside looked like. Look, because when that, just for those you don't know, when that happened in '89, I think it was, I was at my friend Mike's house, and we were glued to the TV because his brother was in the Army at the time, and he was deployed over there. So we were sitting there, we were glued to the TV screen, to CNN, and we were just watching this thing, and we were just talking, it was insane. But that's what the outside of my house looked like. For about 5 minutes, the sky just kept lighting up. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, is it raining? And then it would like rain really heavy, and then it would stop. Then it would rain real heavy, and then it would stop. And I went outside in just enough time to move my car because my block floods. And even though they came and they redid the drain pipes and redirected some stuff, it doesn't flood as bad as it used to. But it's still like when you have a storm that quick, dropping that much water in one time. My whole block was flooded like within 15 minutes. It was up to my top of my grass. And when I went outside with just enough time to drive my car around the corner and a little bit up the block so it wouldn't get wet. Actually, my car's still in the same spot. I got to move it so I can go get it because I'm parked in between two driveways. But yeah, Ralph, that weather was crazy. I can't imagine being on a plane and all of that happening. And why did y'all have run out of fuel? We got circling for a long time.
Yeah.
Run out of fuel.
I did not even realize we were up in the air. We had to be there by maybe it. I mean, it didn't seem long, but we must have been there a long time for them to say that we gotta land to refuel. Like, damn. How long was we up here? That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
But the boring thing that everything in the end, everything was fine. So, but it was just like I was half asleep, and he said we got to refuel. I was like, what? We got to land to refuel. I mean, that's one of the things you don't want to hear when you're 35,000 in the air, my feet up in the air. You got to go refuel.
Yeah, we got to go refuel. Yeah, we want to make that happen soon. Shout out to No Nonsense. What's up, girl? Thanks for coming through. And as she says, listen to as she says. Do as she do and do as she says. Hit the like button coming through the door. So
that's right.
Appreciate that. Speaking of George Bush and the button, hit that like button. George Bush, that like button. How about that?
Yeah. Press the button. Press the button.
Push the button. Push the button. So, in some trending topics, we didn't get a chance to talk about that because we wasn't here last week, but we never did bring out. Alec Baldwin's no longer facing criminal charges for the Rush shooting.
You knew that was coming.
Yeah, we knew that was coming eventually. Charges have been dropped against Alec Baldwin in the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of his Western movie Rust, after quote-unquote new facts surfaced in recent days. So, Alec Baldwin is off the hook. Can't say the same about the Armorer, I'm sure. But he is.
He's not going nowhere. He or she is not going nowhere.
She can't say the same for her. But yeah, man. Alec, man, he wrote it out, and he did the right thing. He was trained properly, media-wise. He didn't really open his mouth too much, almost at all. He did.
No, he wasn't trained. He wasn't trained. They probably sat him in a room. Was like, don't come out until we tell you.
Yeah. Well, he did that one interview. It was like a sit-down interview where he wanted to, because that was the right thing. He wanted to express his, deep hurt and sadness for what's happened, regret, whatever.
And he wanted to do it publicly.
Yeah, he had to. That's what I mean by he was definitely his media people was on top of that. They were like, "You're gonna do that's the only thing you're gonna talk about. You're gonna talk about that. Talk about Helena Hutchins and how good relationship y'all had, and this, that, and the other, and with her family. Once we knew, remember when we reported back before, once we saw that the family had made peace with him, and then of course we know that they were probably compensated and things like that. Once we saw that, I knew at that point there's really nothing else to do when it comes to him. You know.
Well, and here's the thing. Really, in the beginning, there was nothing to do when it comes to him. But unfortunately, because the court of, which I hate, of public opinion, were automatically going to zero in on them, they smartly did the right thing and made amends with the family and made it public. That way, you know, everybody who would try to be like, oh, Alec Baldwin is this, oh, wait a minute. Alec Baldwin, the family, him and the family have a close relationship. Him and the family are cool.
We can't do nothing to him now because
at that point, he made amends with the family. They made peace with it and pretty much moved past it. Now there's a documentary about the film. They said I see them saying Alec Baldwin will participate in documentary surrounding Russ.
You know what? That's a wrap. That's a wrap. Because if they got the so-called bad guy in the documentary, guess what?
He's gonna definitely participate. He's gonna participate in that. You know, he wasn't going to do it until after this whole thing was settled. But it did say Alec Baldwin will participate in the Rust documentary. You know, because they were probably already shooting it while they were filming, obviously. So, you know, it's crazy. So there you go. He's off the hook. Now, I guess new developments will also show. I don't know if they're still gonna go. I don't see any charges dropped against the armorer, so I don't know. They're not like dropping the whole case; they're just dropping charges against him.
Yeah, and as they should drop charges against him, because he was the actor. He was not. He is not. Even though, as we talked about on this show, there is a check that should go on between the actor, the director, the armorer, and maybe one other person in charge.
Yeah.
But basically, from the top, and the producers even in fact are not responsible because they may have hired the armorer to do a job. If that armorer did not do the job, that's the armorer's fault. It is not the producer's fault. So even trying to point at Alec Baldwin as a producer would still fall flat. But they did the right steps to do what they were supposed to. Now the armorer, unfortunately,
that's another story. Yeah, they say right here. They said the new facts, I guess they're talking about that came up, is that the gun was deemed mechanically. Gun and fatal rush shooting was mechanically improper. And it says here, investigators effectively conducted, they said an autopsy of the Colt 45 revolver and found that there were worn joints and that the trigger control was not functioning properly. According to
pause, wait, Wes, I need you to pause for a second.
There.
I need you to pause for a second. Remember what I said when this first broke, when this story first broke? What was because I think we went on the Monday after the story broke.
Yeah.
Remember what I said? That they said during practice run that the trigger was going, that gun was going off by itself.
Yeah.
With no rhyme or reason.
No pressure,
the gun was just going off.
Yeah. So it said it became evident to the prosecutors that the gun could fire without pressure on the trigger, according to the source. It said on Thursday, a newly appointed special prosecutors in the case confirmed charges have been dropped against the actor, though noted their investigation remains, quote unquote, active and ongoing. So in other words, the armorer is still on the hook.
But here's why. And here's why, people, if you want to know why the armorer is going to be on hook. The armorer is going to be on the hook because at the moment that the armorer noticed that gun was firing without warning, as some 38 specials are warranted. Well, some revolvers want to do that if they're dropped and the hammer is cocked, or if the firing pin just happens to be out of position. It's going to happen. So at the point that armorer noticed that happened, the first thing that armorer was supposed to do was remove that gun from circulation on set and replace it with another one. Or they should have worked on that gun to get that gun functioning and working properly by replacing parts, which you can do on revolvers. You can buy parts to replace on revolvers, like you can with most guns, and switch out the parts, and then put it back into use, into rotation for use. But because they found out that it wasn't functioning, the moment they thought that gun wasn't functioning properly, it should have been removed. And that's going to be the question.
Well, that's the armorer's job too. That's part of their job.
Well, that's the main part. That's what I'm saying.
That's the main part. Our specialist, Rich Kenny, shout out to Rich Kenny. When he came on the show, he kind of pointed out the full job of an armorer, along with the property master, aka the prop master, and the armorer, of course. And I just read here again. Still facing charges is Hannah Gutierrez Reed or whatever. She's still facing charges, going forward. And it says here, there was a quote from Alec Baldwin who said, "I would never point a gun at anyone and pull the trigger at them. Never." Baldwin told that was in his interview. Baldwin's attorney Thursday said that they were pleased with the decision to dismiss the case against Baldwin and encourage a proper investigation into the facts and circumstances of the tragic accident. So now that it says Carl Morrissey and Jason Lewis were appointed special prosecutors into the case last month. So new prosecutors were appointed to this. So they took off the old prosecutors, removed them, put 2 new prosecutors in. And let's see, a statement Thursday, blah, blah, blah. New facts were revealed to demand further investigation.
Oh, here's pause for a second. And here's one thing that I do want to know. That's the good part, is that they put new prosecutors, because that other prosecutor was beeline for Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, definitely. That was another thing that I was saying too. That prosecutor was known for trying to, make examples out of celebrities and stuff like that. So then they said the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, was also charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter over Hutchinson's death. The special prosecutor said Thursday that the charges against Gutierrez Reed remain unchanged. A status conference is scheduled on Friday afternoon amid the year-long investigation. An FBI found that the gun could not have been fired without pulling the trigger. That's what they said before. Though Baldwin's attorney said that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. So the new investigation, they basically took apart the revolver, looked at everything, and saw that it had faulty parts to it. And the trigger could go off without even putting pressure to it. So bottom line is that gun should have never been on set. Gun should have been removed, because it should have been inspected. It should have been removed. And once again, we hope that they continue to, get this investigation going and keep it moving. And whatever it comes out to, whoever needs to be punished, you're going to have to be punished. And the good thing about Alec Baldwin continuing, because part of his, I don't know this for sure, it's just my speculation, but part of my speculation is part of that little deal that he did with the family. The family wants the film to come out. You know what I mean? Because she's still going to get credit as the cinematographer when the film comes out, which also I'm sure they did some sort of deal where there's going to be proceeds going to the family. They're probably get a nice cut at the box office or something like that. The people are going to go see it when it come out, because it's been a subject of so much controversy. So people are going to go watch it regardless. So it's an opportunity to bless the family. You know, it doesn't bring her back or anything like that, but at least you could bless the family, you know, for their grievance and stuff like that. So it's, you know, kind of good news to hear. You know, it's like, hey, because that dude should not. So the only people who are mad now are probably like Republicans that don't like him, Trump supporters, you know, stuff like that. They're like, oh, how can he be off? He literally shot
which was the first reason why that prosecutor should have been replaced. That was one of the best things they could have done for this investigation.
Yeah, they
we
did.
would
That
not
was
be
perfect.
if they would have continued with that other prosecutor, it would have been excuse my language, it would have been a crap show.
Yeah. It definitely it would have been all types of crazy. So we're glad that was you know, resolved, so to speak. And yeah, man, it's good stuff. Glad to hear it. So yeah, you know, I read the weekend recap and I see that the Evil Dead came out the gate with pretty decent numbers, you know, for the first weekend. That's what's up, man. So I mean, I didn't get a chance. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to see it yet, but a lot of people that I know, a few people that did go see it, and they were they liked it, you know. So
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. People liked it. So yeah, you know what's funny? I want to talk about
movies should.
Right. You know what's funny? I'm talking about this with this what is this? The Lilo and Stitch. What was the thing going with the Lilo and Stitch movie? Because remember, was it they were supposedly casting, I don't know, was they casting like a white person to play Lilo and Stitch? I mean, well,
I don't know, man. They just
it was funny though.
I didn't need it. Do we really need a live action version of Lilo and Stitch?
Well, bruh, Disney's doing live actions of all of their movies pretty much. They're coming back and doing live because Dwayne Johnson announced they're doing Moana.
And I say the same thing with that. Do we need a live action version of Moana?
Yeah, we definitely need a live action movie because that would be incredible. A live action version of Moana.
They're doing
would be
live
incredible.
action of Moana.
But going back to the Lilo and Stitch thing, they tried to get a white girl to play Lilo.
Something like that. Or it was someone of from the mountains of Caucasus. I think. But now it's now they're doing recasting for it and somebody, because it says here, okay, the mountains of Caucasus. The that could be why Disney.
Listen, because this ain't the Little Mermaid, where mermaids could be any and everybody. Whereas they were actually on an island, weren't they? On Hawaii. I
think so. Yeah. Original voice.
Yeah. So you got it, and the way they portrayed her in the movie was as I don't mean. And here's a funny thing too. If you were born in Hawaii, guess what? As a Hawaiian citizen, you can't even vote as an American citizen, and you're still an American citizen, but your vote doesn't count in Hawaii. The same thing as it does in Puerto Rico, but that's a whole other thing. But if they were going to go with somebody with that fact, if they were going to go with somebody, they should have gone with a native of the island, because that's what that was about.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. Right. So they're recasting, I believe, and stuff like that. So they're not really. Courtney B. Vance to play Cobra Bubbles in Disney's Lilo and Stitch remake. It's not a remake, it's just a live action version, but it is a remake, I guess. So Courtney B. Vance is attached to it. Let's see
I'm still saying, look, Do the Disney cartoons need to be made into live action versions?
Well,
do I really need to see a live action version
Disney
of
feels
Toy
that
Story?
way.
No, I don't need to see a live action version of Toy Story. I don't need.
Well, that doesn't
need
make sense. That
well,
wouldn't
you know
make
what?
sense.
But no, wait a minute, Ralph. If they did a live action version of Toy Story, you know how it would have to be done? That would have to be done as a Broadway play.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal. As a
Well,
Broadway
no,
play.
I think if they did a live action, if they did a live action of Toy Story, the story would have to be about the actual humans that the toys were made about. That's what would be the live action version of Toy Story. Kind of like what they tried to do with the Buzz Lightyear movie, but that was still an animated movie, like a Pixar movie. Kind of what they did with the Buzz Lightyear movie.
But see, Buzz Lightyear, it worked because it was it should have worked. It worked for me, I'll say. It worked for me because it was about the character.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So I'm saying that was their angle with that story. It was about supposedly the real life Buzz Lightyear, so just like, because you imagine these people or some of these toys, not all of them, some of these toys are made after, so in that world, real people. It's just like if he had a G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah, right.
They did that. But they're not going to do Toy Story because they're not going to do that as a live action.
But that's why I said, that's why Toy Story needs to be done as a Broadway play. Because then you could take those characters like Woody, and even if you did it, and I'm not saying this is how they would do it, but even if you did them as puppet type, but big live action puppet type thing, and then you do the story, then it would be a little bit different. I don't know how you would do it to where, how the scenes would work, how you would change out the scenes where some of the scenes they're big, and then some of the scenes, the kids are holding them in their hands and whatever. But I would love to see that. If that was a Broadway play, I would go see that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Now that you said that, what got me thinking, right? I just said we don't need to see live action, and I don't think we need to see live action. However, and I didn't think about that until you said it with Buzz Lightyear. Lightyear should have been a live action version. That should have been a live action version. And then at the end, they said we're going to turn you into an action figure. That sets up toward, and now in Toy Story, Woody's, because he was on that show. Yeah, you do the live action version of that one, and they turn those characters into the toys.
Exactly. Yeah.
But do I need to see? I don't need to see a live action version of Toy Story. I don't need to see a live action version of the Rescuers. I don't.
Wait, no, Ralph, go back.
Or the mouse.
To what?
No.
That thing you said about Buzz Lightyear. If they made a live action Buzz Lightyear with George Clooney as Buzz Lightyear, or a Sylvester Stallone-esque person as Buzz Lightyear, and made that all action, No. You
didn't need it because
you can't use him. What's his face though? He's too old. You can't use the voice. The guy who did the voice. He's too old.
Right. You don't need George Clooney. You definitely didn't need those. Astronauts are not some muscle-bound dudes. They're scientists.
No, but that's
what would have been funny. What would be funny if you want to keep going? You know who should play Buzz Lightyear? The guy that plays Sheldon Cooper. You have him going up into space.
No, because he doesn't look like the character. Like, you need to get somebody that resembles, the squared off jaw. Like, even though, yes, astronauts are not some action heroes, but they're also astronauts that are in good shape and stuff like that.
Of course.
Sheldon, and to be honest with you, Ralph, Ralph, to go with what you're saying, it would have to be a character that's in really good shape like that, because they're pushing G's, the G's that they're pushing and trying to travel in space and all that, just to coincide with science. you would have to be in really good physical shape.
Be in this shape, man.
Have you seen most of the astronauts throughout history? They're not no.
But they
are in decent shape though, bro. Because you see what they have to go through before they even go.
Yes, I do see.
So they are in shape now.
No, and they are in shape, but no, you don't have to be like Stallone-ish.
No, you don't have to be Stallone. Now you gotta be in good shape. So, like you said, Ralph,
what I meant by like Stallone-ish, I meant like in the face structure, like as far as like the square jaw, because that's what Buzz Lightyear had. He had that strong, squared out jaw, and that's why I said Sylvester Stallone-esque. I didn't mean exactly like Sylvester Stallone, but somebody with that, with those strong facial features to give you, because remember, and they also kind of sort of, because Buzz Lightyear, technically to a degree, was kind of sort of a bad boy because he just wanted to keep pushing the boundaries of space. And then when he screwed up, spoilers, and got them stuck on that planet, you know what I'm saying? He really had to be, in top-notch shape to keep going through what he went through.
Who could have played a good Buzz Lightyear, and this is strictly on his face, not anything else. It's just his face. It would have been Armie Hammer. He's got
that's a good one.
He would have, but now nobody's gonna touch him. Nobody's gonna touch him.
But just purely on
the jawline.
The jawline. Yeah, he'd have been good. Well, you call it wouldn't have been bad either. He's just a little short, but he's one of those Chris's. What is his name? Pine? Chris Pine? Is that his name?
Nah, no.
Chris Pine.
Captain Kirk, nah.
Nah. And then
Chris Pine would have been Chris Pine. You know why Chris Pine would have been dope, Ralph? Is because as it being just a dramatic role and not as it being an action role, he would have been perfect for that.
Well, you know who else would have been fine, but I don't think he'd have went back to space. Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Matt Damon would have been good.
Henry Cavill got that. Henry Cavill got that.
Yeah, he would have killed. Now he'd have been the Stallone person you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just based off the face part.
No, Henry Cavill would have killed that. He would have had Henry Cavill. Yeah.
and not for nothing, Henry Cavill could have came with the curl. He could have came with the Buzz Lightyear curling across his forehead. That would have worked.
Yo, he would have killed it. He would have killed it, man. I don't know what's next for Henry Cavill, man. After Warner Brothers really just screwed him royally.
Don't ever work with Warner Brothers again. Don't do nothing with Warner Brothers. Sorry, bro.
No, but guys, remember, the last couple of things that's been coming out about Henry Cavill is that he is going to be supposedly a part of in their universe. That they're actually probably trying to keep him in the
maybe that's nothing.
I doubt it.
I mean, they've been doing him so bad. I wouldn't expect him to even come back for.
I doubt it, man.
I don't care if they on their hands and knees begging.
But I think it was something because of something with his contract that they had to put him back in. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. Don't 100% quote me on that, but I think that's the reason why he's still staying in the universe is because of his contract, his original contract before they tried to fire him.
Well, he's got a few films lined up that's coming out or whatever, but which is good. I would definitely want to check that out. Oh shoot! As a matter of fact, one of the films that a guy is in with him, he would have been a good Buzz Lightyear too. That dude, Alan Richson. He's he's in a lot of DC stuff too, but I think right now he's currently playing on one of those. What is it? It's a show on Amazon, but it's based off of. Is it based off the Tom Cruise character? What was his name? What was that Tom Cruise character? But now there's a show based on
Cruise character.
Yeah, it was a Tom Cruise character, but he was jeez.
Not Ethan Hunt.
Not Les Grossman.
No,
Les Grossman.
No. It's an action guy. Jack Reacher. Wasn't that Tom Cruise?
Oh,
Jack
yeah,
Reacher.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that dude that played Jack Reacher, yo, he bodied that. Did y'all see that?
Yeah. No, I never
Haven't
watched
seen
the
it. I like-
episode. I mean, I know the movie. I know the
dude.
Episodes
No,
on
the
Amazon.
dude,
So him.
the dude
That's
who
what I'm
played
talking about.
in that series.
Yeah, that's the guy who played. He was in Titans. He was in originally back in Smallville. I remember him in Smallville.
Yeah, yo, that dude.
Smallville,
First
Legends
of all,
of Tomorrow,
let
Titans.
me
He was
tell
a
you
DC
something.
guy.
First of all, let me tell you something. I've had fights with a lot of white dudes, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. There are some that I've looked at, that I looked at after, and I was like, what was I thinking? And what? And like, what was I thinking? That dude that plays Jack Reacher. Listen,
Yeah,
that's the
he's
dude that
dude.
you see,
Like I said,
you walk across the street, you don't even want to say nothing.
You gotta see it. Check him out in Titans, and you'll see that probably got him the job. In Titans, he played Hawk for Hawk and Dove. He played that's
right. That's right. Yeah,
killing it. And that nigga can fight, bro. And I remember him all the way back from Smallville. He was Aquaman in Smallville. He was the original. He was Aquaman in Smallville. When they had, I remember that season they started putting up the Young Justice League basically, because Aquaman made an appearance, Flash made an appearance, and the Green Arrow, I think, made an appearance at the time. So he was like, so I've been hip to that dude for a minute, so I'm sure he did good in that show because he's a good action guy. So he got the whole squared off jaw too. So but that's cool, man. We'll see. So Henry Cavill has a few things coming out, which is good. He's in a movie with him. Them two are in a movie together. That should be interesting. That dude, Alan Richardson and Henry Cavill, they're in a movie that's called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That already sounds like some wild stuff. The British military recruits a small group of highly skilled soldiers to strike against Nazi forces behind enemy lines during World War II. Yeah, Guy Ritchie has directed it, so you know it's going to be action-packed. So that's a new Guy Ritchie film. And it's got Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, and Carrie Ells is in it. Those are like the headliners, but then you see a bunch of other people that I've seen before too. All righty. Very cool, man. I'm always gonna keep my eyes out for Henry Cavill because they did them wrong, man. So the Russo brothers have a podcast called Pizza Film School. That's the name of their podcast. And they recently had Zack Snyder as a guest on their show. And they were talking to him about, of course, guess what? The Snyder Cut. Talking to them about, they picked the film that they wanted to focus on, and that's what they wanted to focus on. So they would ask him questions about the Justice League, the Snyder Cut, or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just kind of picking his brain. I think it's really cool that these guys do this podcast because they kind of do like what I'm saying. Do like what we do here, but what I mean is they like to teach and educate as well on their show. And so they had Zack Snyder on there. It was nice, nice long, but a couple hours they were talking to him, and but it's broken up into two different parts, and it was cool. They said to him, they were asking him some of the stuff. He revealed some of the things of Justice League that part. He had a 3-part. Actually, I think it might have. Everything was supposed to be like a 6-part series, not Justice League itself, but including, I guess, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, the 3 Justice League movies, and I think there was another Man of Steel movie. That's what it was supposed to. That was his 6-movie thing. So, and I believe ending with the second Man of Steel movie, because we know that breaking out into the 3 parts of the Justice League, they were going to do elements of the storyline of Injustice, where stuff like that. But they were going to do that thing where Darkseid takes over the planet, and this, that, and the other, right? So anyway, they asked him about that, and he was telling some things that people may or may not knew about some of the storyline. So somebody asked me to mention this, so I'm mention it real quick, and then we'll get to one of our top stories. But so they were like, okay, he explained that there's originally in this script, the original plan for it on the 3-part thing, there's a part where there's literally, I don't know if it was going to be a love triangle, but basically he went way back. He dipped into the old comics where Batman actually had an affair with Lois Lane. Now he dipped into the old comics for this one. This is a storyline that a lot of people never knew or didn't realize that it happened. There was a storyline in the comics where Batman and Lois Lane had a thing, and I think it might have been revisited somewhere, because first it was first touched on like in the 1950s or something like that, and it was like a weird triangle between those three, and then I think it was touched upon again later in comics where they talked about it might have been the way he had it set up was this was happened in between Superman being dead, because originally he was supposed to have been dead for a while, like not like just a couple months, you know what I mean? So, or whatever, weeks. So this is supposed to happen in between Superman being dead, and it was kind of like a comforting each other type of deal. It became a thing. They were, they had sex or whatever. She didn't, but Bruce actually started falling for her, but she still was, And then, of course, once Superman came back, she was like, bye. So she was ready to move back with, get back with Supes. And yeah, so it was like, it became a really complicated thing. And I believe originally, when she was pregnant, she was supposed to be pregnant by Bruce Wayne, not Clark Kent. So, and then Bruce, because Bruce Wayne ends up. So when you think about the that ending with the Joker and all that stuff at the end, when he was saying, Joker says to him, how many times is Lois gonna have to die? You know what I'm saying? Basically, before you decide to sacrifice yourself. Because there's that scene where he's holding Lois, a charred body Lois that Clark is holding, and that's when he turns to Darkseid. If you don't, you have to look at that scene to remember, but he was in the Batcave when he was holding her. Because see, like I said, that all contribute to originally this whole little triangle thing that now became between Clark, Lois, and Bruce, because Lois and Bruce had linked up while Clark was gone. And then so that whole thing with the kill and the death, we don't know how they made him do it, but apparently Bruce kept sending Barry back in time to try to change it, but it kept happening. And it wasn't going to change until Bruce sacrificed himself, because Lois kept dying somehow, and it kept driving Superman over the edge to Darkseid. And so that reality that they were in kept happening. So I think what happens is originally he ends up sacrificing himself. And that, yes, Lois was pregnant with Bruce's child. And they actually, but Clark and Lois do get together and they raise Bruce's child. And he actually becomes the new Batman. But it was bold for him. So the Russo brothers was like, yo, I want to see that. The Russo brothers was like, man, I'd love to see that. And my point of bringing this story up is Zack Snyder's response is, well, someday. So a lot of the Snyder lovers, Snyderverse people, they're all still like, wait a minute, what did that mean? We mean someday. What's going on behind the scenes? But
that means that either an Ellsworth project is because of
could be an Ellsworth project, yeah.
Also because of what I said before, what they said about Henry Cavill's contract, and him supposed to be doing more movies. Like they can't, and they're not just going to pay him outright of what those, because if you break an artist contract, you got to pay them according to what those movies would make. Those movies, especially the Henry Cavill movies, are upwards of a half a billion. So you ain't paying nobody out for 2 films, $1 billion basically. So I think it's one of two things. It's either going to be an Elseworld project and they're going to let Zack Snyder continue on, or maybe James Gunn just might do a good job with it, or
they sell off the Snyderverse rights to another studio. I think that would be the best bet, because money or not, I would see it kind of tough for Henry Cavill to want to come back and do a movie with Warner Brothers, to be honest with you. I don't care who's at the helm of it.
I agree.
They did him dirty. Yeah.
Too many times.
Publicly did him
too
dirty.
Many times.
And you notice how James Gunn passed that hot potato nice and quick. He was like, yeah, man, Warner, y'all did him dirty. Like, he did not want people to know. He was like, I want everybody to know I had nothing to do with him. They're the ones that, did what they did to him. Where it's like, if they knew that they weren't going to bring him back or whatever the case may be, they had him announce it and stuff like that. They basically lied to him. You know what I'm saying?
Lied to him. They lied to him, and they lied to the Rock.
Yeah,
that's who they really lied to.
Yeah.
They really lied to the Rock, because if you really think about it, they made Dwayne go and gave him like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do your version. We're going to go ahead and do Black Adam, and you can go ahead and announce that you can make the announcement that Henry Cavill is coming back as Superman.
Yeah.
And and then we'll say, and see, here's what I wonder. This is what I'm wondering. If behind the scenes, I'm wondering if they left an open-end contract to where they can cancel Black Adam at any time that they want to, depending on the numbers. But also, I wonder if, depending on the numbers, was Dwayne promised another movie? Because if he was promised another movie, I think that's why Dwayne is backtracking a little bit and it's like, hey, I understand the powers that be are the powers that be, but I'm still down to work with James Gunn if I have to work with James Gunn. Right. I think that their contracts, because I know Henry Cavill definitely had a contract, as well as Gail Gadot had a contract.
Well, Gail definitely had a contract for at least one more movie.
Turn it up, man, if I'm too loud.
I think she had for one more movie. But No Nonsense says Pizza. Very interesting title. Yeah, it's actually called Pizza Film School because they literally sit down with their guests with pizza. Like, they get different pizza from like this. Different styles and types of pizza as part of their.
In this case, they got the pizza that Zack Snyder likes.
Right. They got the pizza. They got the Detroit style.
Or Detroit style, yeah.
Detroit style pizza, if you don't know, is more like sauce than anything, I believe. It has more sauce than cheese. You know what I mean? Whereas Chicago deep dish pizza has a lot of cheese and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Detroit pizza is more sauce. This sauce even on the top. Like, I think they put a layer of sauce, cheese, and then another layer of sauce on the top. That's how, and then they bake it deep dish or whatever. It's quite good, but that's what they were doing. So whoever their guest is, the type of pizza that they like, they'll get it. You know what I mean? So for this one, it was the Detroit Stoppies. That's why it's called Pizza Film School. And they teach, they educate, as well as talk to different people, filmmakers, things like that, and actors. I mean, it could be a lot. One time they were doing it. It's funny. It's very evolved now. They got a nice whole little setup and stuff now, like a little pizza shop. Got their faces on the pizza box, so it's all cool. They started this. I think they started this during the pandemic, because it used to be just strictly online and like looking like this, them in boxes, like how we are. So it was like, I think they started it during the pandemic, and they had like Mark Hamill was on there with them. They were talking to him about, stuff, Star Wars, of course. So it was a lot. So now they're going to start bringing in more filmmakers, and Zack Snyder was one of the first, because this is season 2 for them. He was one of the first like filmmakers that they brought in on their new show and sat down and talked with him and stuff. So it was cool. Very cool. Very, very, very cool little thing there. And the Russos, man, what I love about it is the fact like this. The fact of the matter is, I love seeing all of these great filmmakers sitting in one room and just respecting each other, respecting each other's work, complimenting each other. That should make people, it just goes to show you that these people are working, and they're working with certain brands and things like that. It's the fans that are the ones that start the whole rivalries and, this Marvel versus DC, blah, 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 blah. We know that. But, it's good for a reality check where, the Russo brothers are big fans of Zack Snyder, although you got people, especially Marvel fans, that act like Zack Snyder's not a good filmmaker or something. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. I'm going to rewind back on what you said a little bit, because the Marvel DC rivalry wasn't caused by fans. That was actually caused by the products themselves, Marvel and DC. Mm-hmm. That was because they actually they had a real rivalry, going back and forth against each other.
Comics.
And as comic book readers, some of us just chose sides. I mean, some of us did spill over, and we like me. I was a huge fan of Firestorm, Teen Titan, Batman, and it was one other. Rom was Marvel. So so those are my 4 DC titles that I liked, that I collected when I first started collecting comics, and then I just became, as I read more Marvel comics, I just became more and more of a Marvel fan, particularly because of Spider-Man in general. But the first comic that I ever bought was a DC comic, and it was Firestorm.
Yeah, I mean, first comic I ever purchased was a Marvel comic, but I did collect DC as well. And she said, Joseph said, "What about New York style pizza?" Nothing. I mean, New York style pizza is dope. Joseph, I mean, it just wasn't brought up in this conversation.
But I'm just gonna say, Joseph, that New York pizza is the best pizza on the planet, particularly if it's Geno's, because Geno's has the right sauce, the right combination of sauce and cheese.
Okay, we got to get enough about Geno's. They need to send us a check. You doing a commercial for them right now?
I know, man.
You said Geno's.
My big shout out to Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Oh Lord. No, I don't.
And if you're gonna go with pan style pizza, Pizza Hut is out of Domino's and all of them. Pizza Hut is the best.
All
Domino's sucks.
All Domino's those chain commercial pizzas can all get in a black hole.
No. Because here's why. Here's why. Because Pizza Hut, when Pizza Hut first started out, and I think they still are, they were you could actually go out to a Pizza Hut and sit down to eat, because Pizza Huts are like restaurants.
Yeah, like restaurants, but they're not really.
Well, they were. You know what? I'm going to take that back. They weren't like restaurants. They were restaurants.
They could be restaurants, but they're not pizzerias.
But they are pizzerias because they had. But yes, they are, because they made the Pizza Hut was the only reason why I liked even introduced Chicago style pizza, because that's the first place that I ever had deep dish pizza.
Yeah. I remember.
You know, I got into a whole conversation about this, and we were talking about pizza, and the person started to say, you know what Pizza Hut really does to people? It brings up their youth. Like it is like she said, over the years we have all progressed, and because someone on Twitter put this thing that said, name a dish that reminds you of your youth, and people putting in like my grandma's macaroni and cheese, and for me, I said, what reminds me of my youth. The funny thing is the McDonald's pancake breakfast. That used to be my thing when I was a kid. You know, you did something special, you did your chores, and that. So I haven't had that since I'm an adult, because now we have graduated from McDonald's style pancakes to IHOP and now Perkins or Cracker Barrel. So we're not going to McDonald's to get pancakes anymore. If you have it,
wrong. Because I take my grandkids down. And get me. We have McDonald's pancakes a lot. Because those
I haven't had it in decades, but I'm sure if I did have it, it would take me back to being 12 years old as soon as I opened the box up.
I differ from you there. When I was younger, I never ate McDonald's pancakes. I made pancakes either just made at home. I don't even remember eating pancakes out until the International House of Pancakes came out. I don't remember ever eating pancakes outside of home because my grandmother made the banging pancakes. So I definitely, and I used to make them too. Me and my sister, rest in peace. Me and my sister used to always battle when it came to cooking. So, you know, I'd make pancakes. She tried to make banana pancakes and all this different shit. I'm
chocolate chip pancakes.
Yeah, we always used to battle making pancakes. I made pancakes that I didn't even eat, but I still used to make them. But anywho, now when it comes to pizza, my youth, no way, shape, or form, any of these commercial pizza places gonna remind me of my youth, because I went up to Italian pizza right there in Hempstead. You know, I went to pizzerias, and then when I lived in Deer Park, it was Pizza King. Those are the places I went to. I went to pizzerias. Like I said before, everyone who knows me, I am food racist. If there is not an Italian making my pizza, I don't want it. Period.
Wow.
I am food racist. Food racist. That's right.
Well, I can tell you this much. You're gonna be real racist now, because 90%, and I mean 90% of the pizzerias that are out now, there is probably a Central American, whether it be Mexican, Honduras, somebody, but they're Latino and they're Central American, and they're making your pizza, and they're making it from that recipe. Now, the bad part that's happening is some of them are buying out the pizzerias and taking over the pizzerias and then trying to flip the recipes, and they're screwing it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to find the 10% that still has Italian. Yeah, let me just see. No worries here, no nonsense. We appreciate you all the time coming through and checking us out. If you got to dip out a little early, we understand. But always come back, check us out. We're gonna be doing our tournament very soon with the TV theme, so I'm sure you'll love that when we get into that. We're gonna be starting that in the next week or two. Most definitely, yeah, I'm gonna have to find the 10% of pizzerias that's still run by Italians, and that's just gonna have to be me, because there's still a few out there, and you just gotta find them and get out there.
But technically, isn't the Domino's guy?
No,
isn't he Italian?
It's not run by Italians. I used to work at Domino's, so that's how I know it ain't.
But Domino's.
No, but I'm saying the Domino's guy, the guy that owns Domino's, that does all the commercials, isn't he Italian?
I don't know. I don't even know. He may not. He may just be a front person. We don't even know if he's actually.
No, he is. No, he's definitely the head of Domino's.
He can't be Italian, because every Italian that I know hates Domino's. So I don't know. Yeah, you know, I don't think
I'm
he's
not
Italian. He might be. He may be the front person. Maybe they hired a front person that's supposed to be Italian, but
no,
he's
not. No,
an
he's
Italian
not a front
trying
person.
to make pizza. An Italian trying to make pizza, even if it's a chain of pizza, they're gonna try to make it. They ain't gonna make it like Domino's. That's all I can say. I mean, I remember. I know exactly how Domino's pizzas are made. I used to make them. So, you know, with the jeez, I don't even want to flash back to them days. But
listen, Domino's feta cheese pizza is great. So I don't knock Domino's.
Man, I knock them all. But just like I said, when
I'm gonna say it loud and proud. Domino's sucks,
bruh. I mean, the only way I used to eat those chain pizzas, I would literally have to specifically ask them to make it well done. Because number one, half of them send this shit. Excuse my language. I'm getting in my feelings behind this. Half of them send the crap half cooked, doughy, and stuff like that. I'm like, look, I have to specifically tell them make it well done.
Every time, I'll put it like this. Specifically, the one in Long Beach and the one in Farmingdale, I've never had that issue to where they undercook it. The oven is actually. I was getting pissed off one time waiting for my pizza because they got the oven set at, I guess, the correct speed, and it goes slow through like it's supposed to and cooks like it's supposed to.
Yeah, like I said. Well, I mean, yeah, the oven is set. The oven's set to a certain degrees. Obviously, that degrees is, and you're not supposed to change it unless the customer requests it to be well done. And all you really do is leave it in a little longer. You don't change the setting ever.
You just change the speed.
Yeah, you change the speed of it. So, yeah. So, like I said, though, but yeah, that's what I mean. I couldn't bring myself to do it, man. I come up to, I'm coming up with Italian pizza and pizza, man. These dudes, pizzas was crazy, man. It's so good. But yeah, New York style pizza is definitely, of course, New Yorkers are gonna defend New York style pizza, but I think it is, the best style pizza, man, for me. But I've never had Detroit. I've had Chicago style. I've never had Detroit style. That's really. I think those are the ones
for the last 2 days.
Yeah, no. I just think that is. Those are the three. Those are the three that anybody ever really like. Was there any type of talking or anything going on? Those are the three. You know what I mean? So, Chicago, New York, and I guess Detroit found its way onto the map.
When I was overseas, right, we were living in Germany. Our next port to go to, we were supposed to go to Torino, Italy, and I was so looking forward to getting the pizza from Italy. I just wanted to see if it was so
it's different though. It's completely different.
Precious mozzarella.
It was nothing what you
I know.
thought.
I was so looking to it, but we never went.
Oh, you never got a chance to
get
get
it? We went to Italy. But
the pizza in Italy is nothing
so
like.
It's
nothing like what we used to or what we think.
Well, one, because the water's different. That's the first thing.
Well, that's one thing, but also it's just made different. It's almost like it's just like eating Taco Bell and then going to Mexico and getting a taco. Completely different. Completely different.
No, I mean you could but you can go to a Mexican person's house and the tacos are going to be different because
it's going to be good. Yeah, I agree.
Because the one
most people don't have that brick stove in their house to make the pizza.
Right, and number two is because they use when they make tacos, it's the tortillas are soft. They don't that deep fried folded in half crunchy taco that started here in America. Because when you eat a real taco, it's folded in half. So just like you saying with having like when we had Geno's here in Long Beach, a lot of the stuff that we would eat certain stuff, and then we go to certain some of our friends' houses, and we eat there and be like, oh shit, why does this taste like Geno's? Oh, because this is the original. This is the pass down from grandma to grandma. Like the girl at my office, Kerry. Shout out to Kerry Rosalia. Their family, they still have a tomato press, like the real Italian tomato press.
Yeah.
Where you gotta, yeah. And she used to bring in stuff that they made at home. Like they still get together as a family, the women, and get in the kitchen and they get behind the potato, get this tomato press out, and she described the way the contraption is that they use because she said she hated cleaning it after they were done, but it was a specific machine that they used to crush the tomatoes with.
Right.
And then they would make the sauce, their certain way. She never talked about that because that is a family secret.
No, that's a family secret, so they're not talking about that. But
yeah.
I mean, like I said,
if I tell you, I gotta tell you.
Yeah. I know. I gotta tell you, I gotta kill you. Yeah. So okay, so there's been some new developments in the Jonathan Majors story case. TMZ, of course, has uncovered and got their hands on some surveillance tape, right? Which
surveillance. What's wrong with you?
Surveillance tape, which it details, and it's actually time stamped and date stamped. So allegedly it supposedly takes place after the alleged incident in the cab. So, whereas the young lady who is identified as his girlfriend, when they parted ways, here's some surveillance tape of her at a nightclub, and she is nightclubbing. So this is TMZ, who, like I said, they had uncovered the tape. That's a little bit of and they got here where TMZ that's her right there, and that's her just kind of mingling. I think this is her right here. Yeah, I know they have a part where they kind of freeze and they put an arrow on her or something like that. And this is the I guess the live action footage of it, but they do have some screenshots where they're circling certain parts of her body, her hand, something like that. So I guess that's alleged one of the places where she supposedly had a bruise or an injury. And there's screenshots of them circling. And here's another. There's there. They pointed at her. Now she's in front of the DJ. Look right there. That right there was interesting. She kind of moved forward. Looked like she might have banged her head. See that? She kind of moved forward, Boop. I don't know if she banged her head down here or something. But so that was that. And then this is her again, I think. So they're just different parts of the club that they show her in, and she ends up leaving with this other person. So obviously there was, like I said, there's screenshots of it where if we go and look at this again, there's a circled here where I guess they're showing you where she is. Then here's right here with her hand out. They got that circle. They're pointing to it. Of course, you're going to have to, once this is entered into evidence, which they said that they will be entering it into evidence, they'll have to do more extensive search on it and make sure that, I guess, look into it, try to get a cleaner version of the tape. And they were trying to basically show that there were no injuries on her at that time. And this is supposedly after the alleged cab incident. So they're pointing out that she has no visual injuries, right? And it says here, what do they have here? Remember, Major's attorney claimed last week that the client was not with the alleged victim after the taxi cab moments, and that he didn't come into contact with her again until the following morning when he allegedly found her unconscious in his bathroom. At that point, he called 911 on her behalf, and that's when cops showed up and arrested him. His team all along has also insisted that the text messages sent from the alleged victim to Jonathan in the aftermath of all this, where she appeared, recant her allegations, and apologize to him, do not make any reference to injuries supposedly inflicted by him. So that was supposedly their reason, I guess, for letting the text messages out, which I still didn't like that move, because the text messages had indication that there was a fight or there was some sort of disagreement. There was something. I didn't think that was a smart move to put that out. But what they're saying is, although it did allude to them being in a disagreement, fight, scuffle, whatever, it never said that he inflicted injuries or something. But if I remember reading those, I'm not sure if that's accurate, because I remember reading her saying she literally said, they arrested you when they saw my injuries or something like that. So she literally said that. She's only said the word injury. So I don't know what they were really talking about with that. She was like, yeah, they only arrested you because they said it was mandatory or whatever when they saw my injuries. So that's pretty much, that's the new thing. Now this case is supposed to, this court hearing or whatever it is supposed to happen in early May. And with this new development, if in fact it is confirmed that that date and time stamp on the video is officially after they split up from the cab, that's what has to be proven first. Once that is proven and confirmed, this tape should get this thing thrown out. Honestly,
Nope.
It should, because if they were not in contact and she left, if they left, right? Because she's, allegedly the injuries, right, is one of the reasons why people said that she was arrested and stuff. But if those injuries were sustained somewhere else, then where is their case? If there's no injury, right? If there's no injuries, and those injuries, or there is injuries, but there was no injuries when she left the car, because if they are, they would be found here somewhere. That's what I said. They have to still obviously examine the tape. If there was an injury sustained in the alleged fight in the car, then it should be visible somewhere in this videotape. If it is not, and the next morning she has injuries and she was not with him that whole rest of the night, then how could he have inflicted the injuries? And that's the basis of their case. That's one of the basis of their case, that she sustained injury. And of course they said now that the cab driver is going to testify on Jonathan Major's behalf. So if the cab driver testifies that there wasn't a fight or whatever he's going to testify to, that's on his behalf. And now this new footage of her with no injury, with a date and time stamp on it, where is their case?
Put it like this: Jonathan Majors is still on the hook for this, because despite, first of all, they They had no idea about this video footage from this club that this girl went to because you left her, so you didn't know what she did after you. The only video footage that's going to matter to him is from the inside of the cab.
If there is an inside of the cab,
if there is
footage,
right? Okay, but as far as injury things, how many people have been in a car accident, have walked away from it, the next day there is bruises all on them that appear after hours later, down and all the other stuff? That video, it proves nothing.
Nah, that you can't say that it proves nothing, because if there's no visual injury, we're not talking about a car accident where you get like a type of bruise later because you were banged in a car. This is an injury that's supposedly sustained from a fight, from a scuffle. Okay, it's different.
All right. I'm gonna say that, like, when I'm sparring with people, when I used to spar with martial arts, I would get hit and would just go through it, and I didn't realize I had injuries till the bruises until the next day.
Maybe you didn't realize you had bruises till the next day, but once again, yes, there could be a bruise as far as like a black and blue mark may take a while to actually come up. That's true. But I don't know, they're circling and pointing at her hand for a reason. That must be, to get the full story, we have to know what the actual injuries that she supposedly sustained.
Exactly.
But they're pointing to her hand for a reason. So the hand must be part of what her supposed injuries were. I don't know if it's supposed to be scratches or whatever, because remember, they were fighting over a phone allegedly, right? So maybe her trying to grab the phone, maybe she had scratches or some sort of cut or something on her hand because she was trying to grab the phone from him, or whatever the case may be, right? So
all right, but then look at this. If let's say there are scratches and she's scratches on her hand, can you legitimately tell she got scratched from her hand from that video? The video is so far away.
Examine it right, this is just what we see. You can examine that tape. If you examine it properly with the proper equipment, you could get.
Of course, you can. Yeah. What I'm saying is this: Jonathan Majors Kent was saying we have video footage that could exonerate a client. You're presenting something that
they're not presenting it. This is TMZ got this footage.
But now his team is backing up.
They are.
With this. You did not know, because Jonathan Majors left. You did not know that woman went to a club, right? You only knew of what happened inside the cab. The cab footage is the only thing that matters.
If everything there's cab footage, if there isn't cab footage and the cab driver testifies that they didn't have a fight, then where you go from there?
Then it becomes down to where the he said, she said, to what? So when you present this, you can see there are scratches on her hand. Okay, if you examine it, shows that she has no scratch, that still proves nothing.
I don't 100% agree with that. What I'm saying is, right now everything's circumstantial, right?
Then wait. Before you say question, let me answer this question. How many people have spent time in jail for somebody, and the woman had no scratches on her body, no evidence of the person raped her under her nails, like skin marks, and vaginal semen inside of her, but yet still for rape?
I didn't actually hear all your questions. For some reason you're going in and out, like you're getting. I don't know. I'm not hearing.
What I said was how many times has there ever been a person that was accused of rape, raping a woman, but the woman had no type of scars on her, no type of physical evidence such as scratching her with the person's skin underneath her fingernail, no vaginal fluid either inside or around her vagina, but they have because of the fact the word of the woman was taken.
Right, but you got to understand though, that's when the woman makes the word and sticks with it and all of that stuff, right? So now remember, she's not pressing charges against him. She's not pressing charges against him. So I get what you're saying about that, but all I'm saying is that, first of all, this isn't rape. It's a whole nother situation. It's not sexual assault. It's a domestic thing, right? So
but what I'm saying is, rape is far more serious. So if they take the woman on a rape card, which is hardly right, which is way more serious, what makes you think that the footage you're presenting proves anything? Because if the character says fight happened, then it boils into a he said, she said type thing.
Right, but I'm also going to tell you this too. Remember, he called 911 because she was quote unquote unconscious. They make that in the police report.
Well, no, wait.
Let me finish. So when he found her unconscious when he came home. Right. Also, this evidence that kind of explains why she was unconscious. She went out. It's got to explain why she was unconscious. She went out and drinking, clearly.
But here's the thing. But also, was she really unconscious in the bathroom? Did she go? Because remember, I think what I'm starting to believe that their argument was about, she wanted to go out and he didn't. And he was probably like, yo, let's go home. She's probably like, no, I want to go out. And then that probably shot into an argument where he probably told the driver, like, look, take me home.
Well, I mean, the argument supposedly stemmed from him getting text messages from another woman or something like that, and she was trying to see who he was texting with.
Well, the bottom line is he told the driver, pull over and let me out. I need to get away from her.
Well, obviously he went one way and she went another way, but she ended up back home or whatever, back at his place, and he didn't come back until the morning.
Right.
So, which was smart of him, because he understood the situation he was in and who he was dealing with. He's like, I'm not gonna go home, and then this chick comes home from wherever she was going to, because obviously she was going someplace else.
Mm-hmm. And want to start a fight with me, and then becomes this whole bigger level. Automatically going to assume that I'm the aggressive person. I believe that was my move. What I'm just saying is this: that in today's society, do we not take the side of the female? Despite everything else,
they always take the side of the female, historically. But at the same time, what I mean by this isn't like a full blown case. They're still doing their investigation, right? What I'm saying is, this new evidence does bring more circumstantial, situations to it. And it may not, the reason why I say it may get it thrown out, because it may not be worth going the distance on this, because because of this new evidence in there. She clearly went out. She was clearly drinking. And even in one of the videos, it looked like she bumped her head or something. Like she was leaned forward towards the thing where the DJ booth was. My point is, this evidence is important to his case. This is going to be important in some way. They're not going to just look at it and say, "Oh, this proves nothing. We can't use it." That's not going to happen. They're definitely going to use this for something, and it's going to be important.
And I guarantee you, there's more video.
I'm sure there's more video.
I'm guarantee you that I wouldn't be, because it's a city Uber. I was saying before, because I drove Uber, so I know a lot of us Uber drivers from Long Island. We don't have cameras in our car.
Well, I mean, it all depends if they were in an Uber, yeah.
But I'm about to clarify some stuff. That's us part-time, because I was a part-time Uber driver. Full-time Uber drivers have cameras in their car facing the interior, and they have cameras in their car facing the road, because of, one, because of accidents, and two, because of crazy Uber passengers. Now, as an Uber driver, I was lucky. I only had one incident in my car where these people early in their 20s, I picked them up at the Freeport docks, and they were a little drunk. and I had to drive them all the way to Brentwood, and the guy ended up throwing up in my car. But outside of that, I never had any issues. The guys in the 5 boroughs, the guys and girls in the 5 boroughs who are Uber drivers, it's a different story. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a camera, and that if they did get in an Uber, they'll be able to track back who that Uber driver was and get that. They would have to go through,
Uber,
get in touch with Uber and then find him, and then hopefully he didn't erase the footage. Hopefully he realized who he had in his car and he saved it,
Yeah.
for
Well, I
whatever
mean,
reason.
if there's a video with that, I'm sure, like we said in the past, of course, that video will trump all other videos. But at the end of the day, right? But the fact that whatever injuries that they reported that she had, all right, if in fact this video under examination can show that she didn't have any injuries at that time, that is going to help his case. It's definitely going to help his case. And that's what I mean by it raises too many questions. Where is it worth going the distance on this thing? Because now we already know that she has backtracked. So that means now the state has to continue on this. Is it worth going the distance and continue this case against her will at this point when this new circumstantial evidence has arisen? That's what I meant.
I'll be honest with you. I think, well, here's the thing, and here's the jacked up thing, is that one, and I'm just going to say it, one, it's a black artist, he's a black actor. 2, they jumped the gun, because here's the thing, because here's the thing I'm not understanding.
Agree with that.
If he called the police for them to come there, and if this is supposed to be a domestic situation, by New York state law, they both
should have been arrested. Right? Yeah, they should have both got arrested. Yeah, if it's
I think what happened was because he's black, he's a black actor. Those officers were trying to get that one under their belt. We call it a celebrity case. So we just gonna well listen. This is because they know Jonathan Majors probably don't know what. I'm not that he went to Yale, so I'm really assuming that he really didn't have no street contact or really no contact with the police at all, to where he would really have issues with anything. So he don't know that you just can't take me, because the first thing he should have said was lawyer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he should have looked right in there.
When he before he even called them, he should have called his lawyer first, and his lawyer would have took care of it all.
Right, he should have called. That should have been. I mean, when you were becoming this type of celebrity, I mean, granted, let's be honest. We don't know what happened in the moment. Maybe he generally felt,
the need
scared
that
for
it
her,
was an
right?
emergency.
Yeah, right.
He
He might have felt that it was a medical emergency because she was passed out, apparently, or unconscious. So he might have, he's not going to think, let me call my lawyer first, because he didn't think that he didn't think he's going to get arrested. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the thing. If I call you and I tell you somebody's passed out in my bathroom, and you come, and here's the thing, we don't know whether she came to, during his call.
Yeah, we don't know what she told the cops, but apparently in those text messages, she says they arrested you once they saw my bruises or something like that, or my injuries. She's like, they said it's like routine. They had to once they saw,
which is a lie. Which is a lie.
Because what they're saying that they're minor injuries, so they're scratches.
Right.
Think about it. If scratches, let's
again, like I said,
and you a bunch of paper cuts, right?
Again, like I said,
the
that's
cops
a lie.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if the cops come and they see that you got a bunch of minor scratches, no bruising, no bloody nose, no busted lips, yada yada yada, Is it really their time for a couple of scratches? No. So whatever the cops are saying, so they had to see something serious enough to then say we need to arrest.
Someone had to. Someone had to say that we were in a fight. You know, that's what most people say, right? Let's just say you get into a heated argument with your significant other. Most of the times, people refer to that. They'll say we got into a fight. You know what I'm saying? They won't literally say.
And here's the thing. Now, I don't mean to cut you off, Wes, but the important part of this thing, when she said, if she said, well, we got into an argument, did she specify that argument was earlier in the day where they separated and went their separate ways? See, that's the thing. I think when she said that's when the cops were like, oh, well, we arrested him.
Yeah.
They already had it set in their mind, because number one, it's a black guy, they want a white woman, so that's just first off. And so they're like, well, we looking for a reason. Oh, y'all got into an argument? Oh, you got cuts and bruises on you, or cuts and scrapes on you? Okay,
right.
All right. So what happened in the cab?
Right.
Well, you know, but meanwhile, meanwhile,
he choked me in the. This white
but meanwhile,
here and I'm in danger of my life. So please, you guys,
exactly.
Well, like I said,
but here's the thing: if they did not specify, and I think this is why he got arrested, they didn't specify the time period, and which is good that this video is out, because now that specified. Okay, so he got out of the cab and left, and you kept going to hang out. So you couldn't have been as hurt and as beat up as you said you was, because you went and hung out forever. How long?
Wait a minute, I got to end it. I got to interject with that. You know what? I'm gonna disagree with that one. I'm gonna tell you why. No, that's a true story.
Why?
Long time ago, right? Me and my mom was driving to a club, and I hit this guy's car. Right? I hit this guy in the car. Both of the cars didn't have a nary bit of damage, and nobody was hurt. It was basically like I bumped his back fender. The guy gets out the car and he claiming that he's hurt and all this shit. Now listen to this. He walks up 2 blocks to go use a payphone, not to call the cops, to call his boys to come over there. Right? A patrol car comes by, asks them to call the cops. They call the cops. So when the cops got there, he tells the guy he hit my car, and now I'm in all this pain. The cops look at the cars. They see there's no scratches to the front fender or his back fender, and they say, "Wait a minute, who are all these guys?" They say, "Well, I went to go call them." Wait a minute, what do you mean you went to call them? Well, I walked up the street to go call them on the payphone. He said, "Wait a minute, you're claiming you're in all this pain, but you walked 2 blocks up the street to make a phone call." The cop said, "You're lying. Get out of my face." We had to go to arbitration. The arbitrator sided with the guy, because he claimed he was still in pain and he had never had a history of pain before. So that jackass got $15,000 from my insurance company over this thing, when he shouldn't have got a dime, because there was no damage. Once again, what Kevin just said, how hurt could you have been if you walked 2 blocks up the street to go use a payphone? You didn't call the cops. You called your friends. If you were in that much pain, why didn't you call the cops? Why didn't you call the ambulance? But you called your friends, right? That's the only way I'm gonna disagree with what Kev just said.
But that's why homeboy only got $15,000 versus getting $85,000 or $100,000.
He shouldn't have got a dime.
Right? He shouldn't have got a dime. He shouldn't have got a dime. But because what he did after the accident, he probably started going to doctors and all of that shit, and that's what sets you up. That's the setup for you to make sure you get some kind of money, is because you start going to doctors, and the doctors could start saying whatever. You know, you could have had an injury that you had before the accident, and now all of a sudden, you know, the doctors can be like, yeah, this is XYZ, XYZ. So as far as that's concerned, that's why that worked for him with you, is because he went to the doctors before. In her case, she went and had a whole night out. It wasn't like she just walked up 2 blocks, used the phone, and came back to the accident. She had a whole night out of doing whatever she was doing, you know, including including what they showed on the video. And then she comes home and lays out in the bathroom. True or not. And then he calls the police to help with the situation. I don't, I just don't, my whole thing is, how was it explained to the police? Was the timeline explained? Because you could walk into a room. I could walk into the room right now and say, hey, me and my grandson just got into a heated argument, or or I come in and you see my grandson on the floor because I knocked him out because some slick shit he might have said. But but it's not. But it's the okay. When did you knock him out? Was it right then? And he's laying on the floor watching TV, or was it earlier? Like if you're a cop and you're coming in and you see a kid laying on the floor, and my daughter's like, yeah, well, my dad beat my son up. You know what I'm saying? And he's laying on the floor watching TV. The cops are seeing him. They gonna see me and be like, look at your big old ass and look at this little kid. Well, hey, come on, you going with us? You know what I'm saying? But if it's not made clear as to, okay, well, and that's a little bit of an extreme case to use because it's a kid. So that would be, but whatever.
No,
but if it's not, but if it's not explained, like if the timeline is not explained properly, if she just said, hey, we got into an argument, they're assuming, hey, y'all got into an argument 5 minutes before we got here, and she ended up on the bathroom floor. So since you called the cops, what they were supposed to do again, they were supposed to arrest both of them. But because she was probably doing what Ralph said, meow, 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 meow. I'm the lonely white chick.
This dude said meow, meow. Did he say meow, meow, meow? That remind me of those commercials. Meow, 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 meow. Yeah, remember those old school commercials?
Yeah. Meow mix.
Meow mix, yeah.
And that's exactly what she pulled. She pulled the meow mix right out her ass. Right. And the cops because here's the one thing that the cops do. As soon as they come in, they separate the two parties because they want to hear. They want to hear exactly what went on, and then they get back together, and then they put it all together, and then they come to a summarization of what they think happened. Now at that point, they see, but because Jonathan
they have
Majors
to write reports, they got to write a report.
And not for nothing. What's to sit there and say that this girl, when she was talking to the cops, she might have been in something, bra and panties, in the bathrobe, a little more dressed seductively to turn the cop on to get the man's favor, like, oh, well, you gotta defend me.
No, I don't think it was that.
I don't put nothing past nobody.
But
there was no indication of that, so we're not gonna assume that.
but the other reason
that's right. But there's nothing. They're not going to say that. Like if they pulled them apart, right? And Jonathan Major is fully dressed, right? But she's not. She's in her bra and panties or a bathrobe or something, right? And she's playing the woe is me role. You don't think that as the cop, you might sit there and take the woman's side once again, take the woman's side, or maybe feel some sort of compassion.
But but Ralph, this is why one, you separate the two, you figure out what the story is, and then depending on what you hear from one party and the other, you're supposed to, by New York State law, they're supposed to both get taken into custody.
Oh, I agree. I firmly with that. Yeah, they both should have got it, but they didn't.
But for whatever reason, they took her story over his. Then on top of coming in and realizing, oh, this is Jonathan Majors. Oh, we got one. Mm-hmm. We gonna build the case against this, and that goes historically on their record. Like, oh, we arrested Jonathan Majors. I'm the cop that arrested Jonathan Majors. Mm-hmm. If it turns into something, now here you are 10 years later making a book about it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't trust what these cops are saying, because did they actually put the timeline together the way they should have? Because if they would have arrested both of them, they would have realized, oh, well, wait a minute. Well,
Something
ma'am,
wrong.
you went out? You went out? Oh, wait a minute. You just came from, because I don't think she made it clear that she had just came home from the club.
She definitely didn't bring that in, because that would have been mentioned in the early reports if she would have mentioned that. So
It wasn't mentioned in none of her reports.
In my opinion, she definitely didn't mention that. That would have been in the original police report or anything like that. Because they asked those type of questions. So when you went, where did you go? Did you come straight home?
Where were you?
Right.
Exactly.
They ask you that stuff. So that's what I mean by these are circumstances that could get this thing thrown out. Especially, let's just say, we don't know. This is just all alleged, right? Let's say speculation. Let's say that was not mentioned in the police report. Now, your deposition, your police report don't even check out now. Your story don't even check out because you failed to mention you went to a club afterwards. You see what I'm saying?
And again, in the timeline, did you say that you? At what point in time of the day was this argument between you and him in the taxi?
Yeah.
And between that time and the time you ended up on the floor in the bathroom.
Right.
What
happened there? Right. And if she did not disclose that in the actual police report, I'm telling you, that feels like it could be enough for prosecutors to say, you know what, there's no point in continue to pursue this because this is going to be a crap show at the end of the day because it's poking holes in her story. So now it's like, is it worth
not only that, the arresting
taking the taxpayers' money? Is it worth taking the taxpayers' money to keep pursuing this when the stories aren't lined up? There's holes in her story, if you think long game, holes in a story equals reasonable doubt equals the jury's acquittal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why even take it that far? That's what I'm sure his lawyers are going to push for. Throw this crap out because there's the evidence is too circumstantial. It's not like and on top of that, it's not like the quote unquote victim is pursuing it, saying no, that's not how it happened. Blah blah blah. I want to press charge. She's not pursuing it anymore. So they got to look at as a factor and say, okay, is it worth to continue this with all this new evidence that's popped up that she never brought up in her plea? I don't know. I'm speculating that she did. I don't know for sure.
Thing. But see, here's the thing that's going to come up. And I think this is the reason why this video got released, is because I think somehow, because what happens for people who don't know, for the audience members who don't know, yes, Kevin has been arrested before for many of different things. One, for assaulting somebody and beating them up. It was their fault that they got beat up, but it's neither here nor there. I'm the one that got in trouble for it.
Gangster kid.
But the bottom line is not, please. I'm very far from that. But the bottom line is, when you get arrested, your case is handled by the arresting officers, who have to then write their report. At some point, your case is then passed on to detectives, depending on how far forward your case goes. If it's just something that gets cleared up the next day with the judge, 9 times out of 10, you stand before the judge, you get released on your own reconnaissance, depending on how bad the offense is. You can get either released on your own reconnaissance, or you get released with bail. Either way, whether you post bail or get released on your own reconnaissance, you leave and go home. And you get when the time that you leave, you get a court date of when you have to come back. Yeah. In between that time of your next court date and the time that you actually got arrested, depending on your offense and what happened, and depending on whether you got arrested by detectives already, or if you got arrested by a plainclothes officer, then your case is, if you got arrested by a plainclothes officer, after that plainclothes officer makes his report, or whatever the case may be, it's passed on to a detective. Now, if it's a robbery, it's passed on to robbery. If it's a homicide, it's passed on to homicide. Or sometimes those teams are together. In this case, it's a domestic thing. So
Right,
I
in this
don't know.
case,
Who,
it'd be domestic,
I don't know what what squad, but you will be assigned as a detective.
domestic,
for that.
whatever it is, it's SVU.
Yeah. We'll just use that for example. We'll just say as the team SVU.
Right.
Your case is then passed on to them, and
Right.
from there they do their investigation.
Right. They
Now,
do their
hopefully,
investigation.
they're not dirty detectives, and they're doing the right thing, and they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's because this is a celebrity, and you know a celebrity that their team is going to do their due diligence to make sure that to clear their client's name, especially if they're innocent. So if you're not trying,
they're gonna have to. They gotta make sure that the team.
You gotta prove it.
Investigation. They gotta really prove right, exactly. Because, like I said, as of right now, let's just say if you fast forward it to a trial in front of a jury, this is too much reasonable doubt.
This is a plane going down on fire.
Right. This is too much reasonable doubt.
And it ain't landed in no.
We gotta refuel.
How do we know? They're right. They gotta refuel. They're gonna be sitting there saying, "How do we know she didn't injure herself at the club? How do we know the person she left with? She left with a different person, a female. How do we know if they didn't get into a fight?"
And rewind back to her doing her headbanger thing against the wall of the DJ booth.
Right, exactly. That little lean forward thing that could be. How do we know that's where the injury? So it's always now becomes a how do we know, because this was never mentioned before. So now this is new evidence. That's what
I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand.
I think they're going to throw it out. That's just my opinion.
don't understand. And again, this is why I said this is two police officers or police officers that showed up at his house that was looking for a reason to arrest him, because they didn't find any drugs when they came. And that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Because once they come in, they have a right to search the premises. So I'm pretty sure that they didn't find any drugs.
They're like vampires.
Yeah.
Once you invite them in, they can do what they want. Like a vampire.
What they want. Yeah, you can't stop them.
Just like a vampire. Don't invite a vampire to your house, you silly boy.
Exactly.
Powerless.
Exactly. The same applies to police. Do not, if the police come knocking on your door for something, you keep yourself blocking your doorway and them outside. And if they have to hold your screen door open, let them hold the screen door open. But the moment they try to step aside, what are you doing? You got a warrant? No, you don't.
You're resisting.
You're resisting. You can't say that. Can't say that either. Because when you walked up on me, you didn't say that I was under arrest or that I was being detained. You walked up to my door to ask me a question. So ask your questions out here in the street, and never go downtown, people. Don't listen to TV when they say you have to. You don't have to go nowhere. Even if you are, let's just say you did it. You stabbed somebody up. You did it. You 100% did it. But
we don't give legal advice here on Real Talk.
Wait, hold on. Let me
around the system.
Hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying. You could have stabbed somebody up and did the whole thing, and they're only speculating that it's you. And they come to your door, and you are clean, like I mean, fresh out the shower, clean. But they don't know. They coming to ask you questions, and they say, "Well, come with us downtown so we can talk." No, we don't. We don't have to go downtown. We can talk right here.
Talk right here.
Right. Well,
the same questions you got from me that you're gonna ask me, they're asking me right now.
Right. So I mean, yeah. So anyway,
I don't know, but anyway, I said all that to me. There was a point where I said what I was saying. I said all that to say is when they knocked on Jonathan Major's door. Why weren't these questions answered? Because I'm pretty sure,
remember, he called, so he was gonna let him in. Remember?
No. I don't mean that part. He's gonna let them in because he thought she was having a medical emergency. But here's my point. When they separated the two of them, because I'm pretty sure one person was talking to him, another person plus a paramedic was talking to her. So there should have been a point to be like, well, wait a minute. You were out? Why wasn't this noted in the report?
Well, she may not have ever said it at all.
That's right. She may not have said it.
She may not have ever said that at all. That's what I said. If it's not in the report, which we don't know, let's be clear, we don't know if it's in the report or not. If it's not in the report, then she didn't bring it up. It's that plain and simple. If it ain't in the police report,
and you know what that means?
Not bring it up.
And that means they're going to say, well, that means that you lied. So if you lied about this, how could we take anything else you said as truth?
Right.
But it turns into a more serious thing than that, because you can actually get locked up for making a false police report.
For making a false police report, yeah. So I think at the end of the day, well, here's the deal. At the end of the day, if in fact they decide to throw it out, which for some reason I feel that's what's going to happen, if they decide to throw it out, that's just going to be it from there. Jonathan Majors is probably just going to cut ties with this woman, and then that's that. I doubt. I mean, he did already, but what I'm saying is, I doubt that he's gonna come back and be like, yeah, so or anyone. Now maybe, but I don't think so, given her complexion. I doubt that the DA turns around and says, hey, you lied to the cops. They're probably just gonna let it go. But either way, I have a feeling that they're gonna throw it out due to this, unless the only way they won't throw it out is if there is a video from the car and they did have a scuffle. That obviously that's the only reason I think that they won't throw it out, or if anything that indicates that. But you get the testimony from the driver. If the driver is testifying that on his behalf, because that's what they say that he's going to testify about, then there may not be no video from the car. There may not be a video from the car, depending on what they say it's a cab. So if it's a cab, then if it's a New York City cab, then there probably is a video, right? But if it was something other than that, such as an Uber or anything like that, not necessarily mean it's going to be a video from the car. So we'll have to see. Because why do they really need testimony from the driver if the video shows that either they got into a fight or they didn't get into a fight, right?
Well, probably to corroborate the story.
Right, to corroborate the story, but that means nothing if the video shows them fighting. It's testimony.
Exactly. I said, what he needs that video to show him how he was in the back of the car reading the Bible, and she kept bothering him.
But I think honestly, the fact that they're pointing out that this gentleman or this driver is going to testify that they did not have a physical altercation, that leads me to believe that there is no tape. Because if there was, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say that they did have a physical altercation, but for whatever reason, the driver is lying and he's saying they didn't. If they had a physical altercation and it was a tape that existed, there's no way that they would have this driver say, and there's no way this driver would have, no one would, I know I wouldn't agree to testifying on his behalf if I know that they had a physical altercation and it's on tape.
But so, it doesn't matter. Listen, it doesn't matter what you want, because once you're sequestered to come to court, you got to come.
No, but
it doesn't matter.
Well, no, but you don't. No, yeah, but you don't have to testify on anyone's particular behalf. You could just tell what happened from your point of view.
Well,
but they've stated in the press that he is going to testify on his behalf. He's going to testify
but here's the thing.
On behalf of Jonathan Majors that there was no scuffle or there was no fight or whatever.
But you have that whenever you have a case, whether it's this or whatever it is, you have two sides. You have the prosecution.
No,
going to call their witness.
I get it, and they're going to call it. He might be a witness for the defense. But look at what happened in the Tory Lanez case. Their witness didn't work out for them. The witness, the defense called the witness, and he just told the truth, and it hurt Tory Lanez. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. So, but by them saying he's going to testify on their behalf, meaning he is going to corroborate, like you said, corroborate his story. So my point is, if I'm called as if I'm subpoenaed to court, yeah, I gotta go, but I don't have to say I'm gonna testify on his behalf and I'm just gonna tell what happened. And if I know there's a tape out there that proves otherwise of what I'm saying, hell no, I ain't gonna say that. So this is what I mean by them saying he will testify to corroborate the story of Jonathan Majors. That leads me to believe that there is not a tape. If there is, then it's just a tape that doesn't have them fighting on it. That's what I mean. I can't imagine someone testifying to the degree of saying these people did not have a fight, and then they pull a tape that shows them have a fight. So he would know. He's the driver. He would know. So the fact that he is supposedly their key witness to testify that didn't happen, what they're saying, there was no fight, that leads me to believe that there is no tape.
I think the opposite. I think there is a tape, and he's just a double down on what the tape is going to show.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine if that's the case, but
also,
what I'm saying is, I guess what I'm trying to say is that tape. There's no, in my opinion, there's no way a driver will testify basically on the behalf of Jonathan Majors if there is a tape, then it's going to show that they didn't fight. That's what I'm saying. There's no way he's going to testify on his behalf if there is one or two. It's only one of two things: one, the tape exists and they didn't fight, or two, there is no tape. Because they really don't. I mean, like you said, if it's a double down, okay, fine. Because otherwise, if a tape shows that they don't fight, there's no reason for the driver to testify.
Well, no. Well, technically, there is a reason because what the defense can say is, oh, well, during this time period of the tape that they weren't fighting, but what about the time period after after that? With the tape, it's just
I mean, the tape should if there's a tape, if there's a video, it should cover when they got into the car.
Right. It should cover from the time they got into the car to the time Jonathan Majors was like, yo, let me out the car.
They separated.
And he got right.
So as long as that's then that's covered.
But here's what they'll do is they will use an eyewitness to double down on that, solidify it. They'll be like, okay, so at XYZ time, Jonathan Majors asked you to stop so he can get out the car. First, it's gonna be like, yeah,
right.
And then they'll do a run through of exactly what exactly what was shown on the video. They'll do a run through with eyewitness account to double down on.
I agree. I agree with you with that. I'm just giving my pure opinion. I don't think there's a tape. I don't think a tape exists, and I think that's why they need this witness. But
this is my question. If we go with your premise in that, like you said, you don't think a tape exists, then what evidence did you guys legitimately have to prove his innocence? Because the damn sure wasn't that.
The eyewitness was there.
No. Remember, he said we have video proof that can prove that my client is innocent. That video that you pulled from this club isn't the proof that you guys are talking about. You had to have something else. So if no tape exists,
Ralph. Here's when they said that we have proof that my client is innocent, they're talking about because of the timeline of between the time, and this is why I kept saying what I was saying earlier. Was the time when they were at the house and they arrested Jonathan Majors, did they establish a timeline of between the argument and her laying on the floor? They never, which shows to me how everything happened, and because this club video is out, it shows me that they didn't establish a timeline at the scene of exactly what happened and when events happened. Because had they done that, they'd be like, oh well, she just came from the club, so could it be her? And now also in her medical report, which we don't have, in her medical report, do they state why she was knocked out? Was it alcohol poisoning? Did she drink too much? Did she have?
Hell, did she just fall asleep?
Did she have drugs in her system?
But not just falling asleep. She was obviously unconscious. That's why he called the police. That's why he called, because he obviously, I guess he couldn't wake her up.
He couldn't wake her up. Which again, I call BS, because you wake up when the cops get there. But again, I have to retract that, because I don't know what they used to wake her up. Did they use what do they call that? The
smelling salt.
What's it called? Yeah, the numbing salt. Yeah. Did they break under your nose and to wake you up? I don't know how they woke her up.
Yeah.
So if she was legitimately out, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If she wasn't legitimately out, and if she all of a sudden miraculously woke up when they walked in the room, I don't know. It's something
like you guys. You know what, man? You guys act like y'all didn't see Gone Girl. Sorry, this is Gone Girl 101.
That's funny.
I'm dead serious. She that girl in that movie gave you play by play how to send your man to the electric chair. You don't think one after that movie came out was studying that thing, like how?
But this is why, but this is why, Ralph, as I was talking to Wes earlier today, I think, and I said it before today as well, that I think this chick is a plant in his life.
Well, that's obviously,
I don't know,
that's speculation on my part.
That's obviously speculation. We're definitely not saying that for sure, but that's your opinion. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're just gonna have to continue to monitor this and see, how this turns out.
Just the fact that he got out of that car and said, I can't be in this car with her. As I said earlier, and again, they were supposed to arrest both of them. When they showed up to that house, and even when he said, yo, I walked away. So my thing is, was the timelines established? Because if he called you to a medical emergency, how did you jump to him being the cause of the medical emergency?
Right.
And you arrest him.
And not for nothing. I'm gonna throw this in here, which I know it probably isn't the case. Now, it was reported that he called the police, right? What if he called the police right after he got out the cab? They go over to the house, and the girl wasn't there.
No, that's not what happened, though. What happened was he called the police when he got back home.
When he got there.
Oh, he got back home. Okay.
There. He got back there. She was, allegedly unconscious in his bathroom. So that is what. Now remember. Now I just read back the lawyer. His lawyer said. Originally, his lawyer never said anything about video. He said, or she said, they said, we have provided irrefutable evidence to the district attorney office. That's pretty much kind of like, we kind of started saying, well, it must be video, but they never said.
But what other?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying they never said that they provided video footage. They said, we have provided irrefutable evidence to the district attorney that the charges are false. We are confident that he will be fully exonerated.
Now, but see, here's my thing. Again, even with that, 9 times out of 10, if they know that, okay, this is bullshit. Now, unless the prosecution, and now obviously, right now he's going for Trump and all the other stuff. Depending on whether the main DA is going to be taking the case or there's going to be an assistant DA that's going to be taking the case. That's going to determine on, you know, whether they think, well, we got a celebrity, we got it in the bag, so we can go forward. Because normally, if they know, if there was irrefutable evidence being brought forward and presented right to the prosecution, they would have done this on the spot.
Yeah.
Because they have the power to.
Yeah.
So I don't see why.
That's another reason why I don't think there's cab footage, because if that was already presented as evidence, that will tell the tale right then and there.
Yeah.
That tells the tale right then and there.
Case closed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or case open because they actually did have a scuffle. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't think there's a cab
video for the cab.
That's why I don't think there's a cab video. I believe, you know, I believe the only video now is this video that just surfaced from TMZ.
Well, I'll put it like this: if
that's
they,
the only video.
and not to be on some FBI crap, but if they want to, the city can get warrants to get every door cam, every ATM cam.
Store cam. They could catch her coming out of the club. See what direction she went in after she left the club.
Forget that. They could forget
with
that
the
part.
traffic cam.
Right.
I'm sorry, Ralph. Damn, it was in the city. So the city is a traffic cam paradise.
Yeah.
So Oasis. So there's cameras everywhere. So you know what? This might be that.
They don't even have to track it. All they gotta do is track it from when he gets out the cab. They could track where the cab went, what she did, the whole thing. Did the cab go directly back to the house, and then she went inside and then left? Did she just go straight from the incident to the club?
No.
That's all they gotta do.
Well, here's the thing. What happened was, and I'm not speculating. Well, yes, I am speculating, but I think that what I'm saying is 100% correct. I think what happened was Jonathan Majors jumped out of the cab, was like, yo, I don't need to be here. He didn't want to go wherever it was that she was probably going anyway.
Yeah.
And she took off and went to wherever she decided to go.
Right. While we were going through this, I was doing like a deep dive search about, you know, to see if the cab footage was ever mentioned. I finally found one article that mentions it. So it says here, Majors was arrested, blah, 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 we know that. The lawyer, Priya Chandri, insisted that there is evidence that will prove Majors is completely innocent, including video footage from the vehicle where the alleged incident took place, witnesses' testimony from the driver and onlookers. I don't know. Onlookers. I don't know. Were they the only people in the cab, or was there other people in there?
No.
There would have been people
probably when he pulled over.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. Either the cab was pulled over, or the cab probably never, or the Uber, whatever it was, it never left from where it was that they were leaving from, and that's why he got out the cab.
And it says, and 2 written statements from the woman recanting the allegations. Check out the statements below. Okay, that's fine. That they don't care. They're not going to really care about that. About her recanting it from below. They'll still.
Well, no, because they will believe her recanted story if it ties in with the evidence of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
If it ties in with the timeline of what they're saying, depending on what her recantment statement said.
Yeah.
Then
they must not. It's either one or two things. That footage must not have been turned in yet, because I mean, you know, maybe it, probably takes time to pull it and stuff like that. Get all of the footage that they get.
It's too much. They
might as well take their time, because the case is set up for early May anyway. But
one day you need a warrant, but you can't just go and grab it.
Well, you got to get a warrant. Yeah, you got to get a warrant for it. All that stuff. You got to go through the.
Of course, but I mean, it does not take the police long to get a warrant. This is over a month ago.
Well, no,
They
no,
would have got it by now.
well, no, not necessarily.
But it's going to be
because
now that but because a hearing date is set, that's when they have to present it. So no matter what, maybe they do have it by now, but they can't present it, and they're not going to put it. I don't think they're going to release it to the public, but they're not they can't present it until the date. The
trial date.
Yeah. So that's where it is. So if in fact, because I remember now I do remember them saying something about footage. That's why I was like, it's stuck in my head. But I'm like, but I started to be honest with you, feeling like that was not true. Because I was just like, yo, I mean, what the hell? We'll see. We don't have much more to wait, and we'll see how this happens. Now, that would be the end all be all if they just go ahead and get that footage pulled. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine this man's lawyer talking, even putting that in the atmosphere if they were actually fighting on camera. Yeah, I mean, for him to be put that in the atmosphere would be a freaking death sentence. You know what I'm saying? You know, as far as that goes, be like, yo, bro, you just say that the video footage from the thing. Now, don't try to lean just on this footage. This footage is just extra footage that brings in more circumstantial evidence. If you have the actual footage from the vehicle, hell yeah, you got to put that in there and lean on that. You know, because that's going to, you know.
That's the irrefutable.
That's the irrefutable. That's the irrefutable
not no eyewitness
evidence.
Not no eyewitness. Sorry.
That's the evidence. That's the irrefutable evidence, because the eyewitness is just that, an eyewitness. Like I said, some people see things certain ways from different vantage points. Sometimes they change it. Like I said, that's what happened to Tory Lane. Tory Lane's defense attorneys called on the guy who allegedly saw it or whatever. And he basically got there right on the stand and said he saw Tory Lane with the gun. So, and that was their witness. That wasn't even the prosecution's witness. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyhow, we'll see. This is gonna be a developing story. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely think this new evidence helps his case more than hurt it. Like, to me, I still think those text messages hurt him more than help him. I didn't think those should have been released, because a text message just saying, "I told him it's my fault for trying to grab your phone," like that sounds like a victim. That sounds like a victim who's just trying to cover it up. Yeah. That's what I don't like. I didn't like that whatsoever. I'm like, why would they release this? Oh, here's some evidence that she said it was her fault. Well, if it's her fault, that means something happened. Mm-hmm. If it's your fault, then something happened, even if it's your fault or not. By you taking blame and fault means that implies that there was an incident. So, you know, that doesn't help your case if you're saying that there wasn't an incident. So, yeah, I didn't like that move. You know, I told him I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure this doesn't, you know, if they don't try to press charges against you. And, you know, I told them that it was my fault for trying to grab your phone. That does not sound like, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. That was dumb to release those, in my opinion. Because people read them and they're like, this sounds like that they got into a fight, but she just incited the fight. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like. So thank God for him, he didn't answer her in none of those text messages. He never, all he answered in the early part of the text message, it was something about he put something like goodbye or something. He said something. I don't remember what he said, but he only said like one or two things, and she just kept text message after text message because he wasn't answering her. He was, as the youngins say, he left her on red. They were, you know, she kept saying, "Oh, please check in. Please let me know you're okay. Blah 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 blah. I love you. Blah blah blah." She just like, now she feeling the pressure, like, oh damn, he ain't gonna F with me no more. Let me try to, you know.
The money train gone. The money train gone. That's I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. The money train is pulling away, and I gotta do something to stop it.
It's pulling away. The money train.
I got something to stop it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so anyhow,
the crying victim always works. Let me dust that off real fast. Oh, boo, boo.
Well, like I said, I'm sure anxious to see how this turns out. You know, like I said before, from day one, I have my beliefs on it. I have my opinions on it, but none of us was there. And the only way once the truth comes out, we'll know what's what. And I stated, and this is how I feel. This is my opinion. If the truth comes out, and it does come out that they were in a fight, and it does come out that he laid any sort of hands on her, then he gets what he deserves. Period. Because you always have a choice, and you shouldn't let this destroy your life. But if that happens, I feel for him. But at the same time, oh well. You know, another one bites the dust because they can't fucking control themselves with these people. That's if it actually happened. So that's my opinion on it. And then that's it. And my also opinion is if in fact that allegedly, if that actually happens, he's done. He's done. Completely done. Stick a fork in him. Because he's already lost, you know, a couple of things. His PR company and his manager cut ties with him. Then you got a couple of endorsements that he lost. The Army is on hold. They haven't actually pulled off yet. Marvel's waiting to see what happens. Marvel is gonna have their eyes very, very, very tightly on that date.
Yeah,
they'll probably have a representative there at the court. You know what I'm saying? Or send someone there, meaning to kind of witness what's going on. Minute by minute coverage.
Right. Minute by minute coverage.
Think about, we need to know everything about what's happening. And I'm sure he's already talked to Marvel or him and his lawyers. They probably already has had meetings with him and talked to him about, hey, what's going on? Is this something we need to worry about? What? There's a code of conduct in every one of these contracts. If it's something that's going to come back to bite us, just let us know now. I'm sure they've had that conversation with him, which is why they're not making any decisions before this whole thing comes down. They're not going to do it. And it seems like the media is pushing for it, bastards. The media is pushing for them. Oh, that's why you got fake news. You got fake people say, yeah, Marvel has been already searching for a replacement. That's not. And then someone from Marvel was like, we haven't done nothing. We have no conversations whatsoever about replacing anybody or anything. So,
well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of believe that because it would be. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Only because it would be the smart thing to do to at least begin.
No, well, I mean, that's not gonna be. With him, okay, recasting him is the first. That is the first option, right? Recasting Kane is the first option. Kang is the first option, right? The second option is an option you don't want. That means you'd have to do a lot of rewriting and things like that, change the directions and stuff like that. I don't think they're gonna go that route. They're recasting. Recasting that ain't nothing that's gonna be that hard for them to do. You got to remember, they've already had people in mind when they cast him. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the first person that they thought of. So if anything, they could dig into the bag of the people that they had. You always have your A list, your B list. Who do you think?
Your backups.
Yeah, your backups. Who's just someone in case it don't work out? Let's go at this person.
But that's what I'm saying.
But I don't think they're actively looking like what the reports are saying. I don't think they're actively looking and discussing who can. And then there's someone put a report of Damson Idris. That's false. I believe that's totally false. Just because Damson Idris is another, hot black dude. Hot meaning like he just did Snowfall and he's a hot commodity right now. So they're saying that's just a fan. That's a Damson Idris fan putting that into the universe. That's all that is. Who decided to put that out there and decided to put it into the universe to make people think that if in fact this whole thing goes sideways, they might look at that article and say, maybe we should look at Damson Idris. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, but there's no true report on it. And they, the reason why I believe Marvel is because they haven't made a move. They haven't made a statement. They haven't made nothing.
Well, I don't think, even if they did, I don't think they will anyway. However, I think that,
but they could have made a statement. Everyone else did, even the army.
No. I think they're gonna. I think Marvel right now is gonna be quiet, and it's not Marvel, it's Disney. I think Disney will be quiet because they got a bigger issue down in Florida, which is the whole DeSantis thing. But internally, hey, you work in the corporate office of Disney / Marvel / Lucasfilm, whatever. Paperwork goes all around. You could have saw it on a piece of paperwork and you leaked that and somebody could have leaked that story out. That's why I said,
of course, it's possible, but I don't.
Right. That's why I said I think there has been a put this onto our blackboard as a potential. We're not gonna make it over now, but let's put it up there just in case.
But I just don't believe that. I just think it's too coincidental for it to be Damson Idris. I think it's too coincidental for it to be Damson Idris. You know what I'm saying? They specifically put that in one of the reports about this. And like I said, immediately after that, Marvel follows up saying there has been no conversations about anything. And they got to be smart about that, because if there was conversations about that, they can't have no situation. They got to be extra careful that no stupid shit like that gets leaked, because if it is true, if it is something that's true, they got to be super. And I mean, let's be honest, something like this it should only be discussed amongst one or two people. You got Kevin Feige, you got Bob Iger, and you got a couple of, maybe one or two other executives in on this, the PR people and the lawyers. That's all that should be in that room. Kevin Feige, Bob Iger, the lawyers, and the PR people. That is all that should be in that room. I don't want to hear no PAs, no person who's secretary who could have came across. I don't want to hear it. That is only... Those people should be privy to that information, if there's even any information. Of course, they have conversation. Well, what do we do? What's our damage control if this, in fact, goes sideways? What do we do? Of course, those conversations have to be had about everybody. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, what do we do? Look at what happens. Now that look at how everybody was so hands off with Johnny Depp while he was going through his trial. Now, after he was exonerated, or he won the trial, now people are ready to F with him again. You know what I'm saying? So they're just gonna wait. They're just gonna play. It's not that long to wait, so they're just gonna wait. You know what? Let's just wait here, see what happens, and we'll go from there. But we'll see. Let's end it on that note. As far as we will keep you up and continue to watch the developing story of Jonathan Majors. Now, as far as the other people that's come out, they're irrelevant right now, because you have to handle one case at a time. The other people that's come out saying that he has been abusive to them and like that all could be cap. You know what I'm saying? That could be all cap. So
go back to making my buffalo wings, bitch.
Yeah. So
make my buffalo wings.
That could be all cap. So you can't even sit there and consider that stuff right now. People just trying to capitalize off of the situation. So, they're not even thinking about that. There's one case at a time. And if this case gets dropped, those other cases are not even going to develop. Those other cases aren't even going to develop, even though people there's like 7 other women supposedly come out. I'm like, yeah,
where's my ranch sauce at? Stop. Damn buffalo wings.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I sure hope that this turns out for the better. And but anyhow, so next week we can go ahead and start. Well, between this week we should try to go and start ranking our songs. I know you mentioned a song that wasn't in there, and that was the Curb Your
Enthusiasm. I totally forgot about that one, man.
Yeah. That's a very famous song.
Yeah,
and people even use that. People even use that in memes, and they use,
commercials,
and even content creators use it as whatever. You see that all the time at the end. They put that at the end of their video because somebody might have said something funny or weird or quirky. And so we gotta take a look at this list again and figure out who can be removed, who can be added, and make it a final decision, and then going from there. Because going forward, people, we are going to be doing our tournament for the best television show theme song of all time. That's pretty much including all television, with the exception of like a lot of animation. Only
cartoons.
Cartoons, with the exception of like cartoons. Then but it also an exception, of course, like no like soap operas. Well, no, there's no soap operas.
No soap opera.
Right.
It had to be prime time.
Yeah, it has to be prime time. Although the Young and the Restless theme song is pretty famous, but yeah. No, and so the Channel 7 one too. What's that? General Hospital?
One Life to Live.
One Life to Live.
Yeah, GN Hospital.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. But no, we're talking about prime time for the most part. And so it's gonna be an interesting one. We're gonna try to develop some sort of a voting system for the fans and the listeners, so you could put your input on. I think what we're gonna have to do, Ralph, and we can discuss it off air, but I think we're gonna have to if we're gonna do like a poll, the polls we should have to do it like a week ahead. You feel me? Like the poll for this round is up. Vote on it, and then we can take their vote into consideration when we do our voting. You know what I mean? And we'll figure out a way to do it, but that's going to be very interesting. And I tell you, I was talking with a young lady today. She represents the millennial generation, and she was like, number one. She was like, number one on my list is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She was like, I memorized that song from start to finish. She's like, and that song crossed over because she was talking about her. I think she's like half white or whatever. She's talking about her father who's white, and like the song crossed over. And I know it. I said, yeah, I know it did. I said that it also was a song that I think they even released that song at one point.
But see, what I would have did, I said, okay, so the song. She said she knows the song by heart. Tell me do the entire song, because there's 2 verses to that song. It's only played once in the season premiere. The series premiere is done once. Every time I said just half the song, but you really know it by heart. Tell me the whole song.
That happens a lot too with series, because the entire Gilligan Island song was only done like in the first season, like maybe the pilot or whatever.
Yeah,
episode.
And then they had to change it. They had to change it
to add the Professor and Marianne, because before it was and the rest. That was the. They were like, hey, what the hell are we? You gonna mention Skipper, Gilligan, millionaire, wife, movie star, and the rest? There's only 2 more people to mention, won't you? So they changed it. So well, it's gonna be interesting. But I do think the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song will go deep into this.
I think so.
I think it'll go deep into these brackets. I think it's gonna be a hard out. It's gonna be a hard out for sure. If it don't even win it, you never know.
I still think that the hardest out is Woke Up This Morning.
That's gonna be a hard out.
That's gonna be a tough out.
That's gonna be a tough out. If it goes out, that's gonna be a tough out. Got yourself a gun.
It had better be something better than that. It can't be. No disrespect, but it can't be the Island Gilligan's Island beat out. I woke up this morning. It just can't. It just can't be.
Yeah, that's funny. Got yourself a gun. I love that. That show was so beloved too. That's why I want to get away. I want to find a way of getting the people in on this too. I want to hear what they got to say about it.
Well, I got a question. I mean, I know we have the free use thing. Are we gonna play samples of the songs on the air? Because some people may not know what the song is.
Yeah. We have to. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's just 10 seconds of it. Like, we gotta play something. We gotta play a piece of it. So yes, the answer is yes. We have to play a sample of it. Yeah, because people may not remember everything, especially by the name. Because to be honest with you, when you put on that list the actual name of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song, people will be like, huh? That's the name of it?
Yeah.
So
because they all do have an actual name.
Right. They all have actual names. So when you start looking at the name of a song, you're like, huh? What is that? So then we're gonna play a sample of it. Probably keep it to a quick 10 seconds of it or whatever. Just enough for you to understand. Oh, okay, I know that song. So should be like I said, my tough outs, definitely Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, definitely Got Yourself a Gun, Woke Up This Morning or whatever. That's definitely gonna be a tough out. I also believe Cheers is a tough out. I look at that as a tough out.
Now I gotta say Curb Your Enthusiasm, because I think that's probably gonna be the toughest one.
Because I don't know if it'll be the toughest one, because Curb Your Enthusiasm, as popular as it was a cable show. So I mean, I don't know. There's a lot. I can tell you there's a lot of people that won't know that song. There's a lot, because it's a cable show. So if you didn't watch the show, it's like, even though there's going to be a whole lot of people that do know that song, but some people may know the tune to it, but not really
the show,
because it's used in social media and stuff like that. People might know the tune, but they're not going to identify it as Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's the problem with that.
No,
because
open that window and open the one over there.
It's not gonna be recognized as much as Curb Your Enthusiasm when it's it's used so much in the thing. But I know it's gonna be a good one too. But that's what I'm saying. Now the Got Yourself a Gun faces that same thing, but it was such a very 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 popular show. Even if you didn't watch The Sopranos, you kind of know that was the theme song for it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that's where it's a little bit different. But the cable shows, and there's not that many of them on this list, but the cable shows may have a little struggle with that. But everybody knows the Cheers theme song. Everyone, even if you didn't watch Cheers, you know that song. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so everybody knows that. Everybody knows that song. Dougie Fresh played that song at a rap concert one time. We were at a rap concert in South Carolina, in Charleston, South Carolina. Dougie Fresh was on stage, and he was playing songs, theme songs from a movie, just like Let Me Take Y'all Back. And he played The Jeffersons. He played Good Times. He played Cheers. He played, Where Everybody Knows Your Name. And he played one other thing. That was the only non-black theme song that he played in a crowd full of black people.
But they all knew what it was,
and they all knew what it was and was singing it. So that's the impact right there. It already proves that even if you weren't into that show, you know that's the theme song, and you know the words to it. You know, and so that's that's gonna be a tough out.
You know what, man? This weekend right now, you've been to one of these Exotica shows. You know they're loud as hell, right?
Yeah,
The
I've been to
show
a
was
couple of them. Yeah,
right. The show was ending, and I don't know why. I don't know why my face messed up. I'm tired. But the DJ decided to put on "We're Champions," right?
We had a chance.
And next, so we're closing it down. Next thing you hear, I started hearing people behind me singing. People that was walking by, he was in the booth, all started doing "We Are the Champions," and I was like, wow. And it's like everybody knew that's one of those songs that I don't care.
Well, yeah, that's a song that's been number one. It was translated into sports, so that's another reason why everyone knows that song. That song has been used in all different types of situations and genres. It's the same thing with the other Queen song, "We Will Rock You." They made that song for stadiums. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
"We Will Rock You." That's been translated to sports. They play that now during sports. Every Met baseball game I've ever went to, they play "We Will Rock You." Everyone, maybe even I don't know if any football games they played it, but they play it at all stadiums and stuff like that. So yeah, that's definitely
they did it. They did that in Cheers. They started beating on the bar and doing "We Will Rock You."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did. So that's cool. All right. Well, with that being said, we'll get this together. We'll figure out how to and good night, Joseph. I see you there. We will figure out how to implement this into, for the fans to do some voting themselves. We can hear from them, even if we just put a poll up and read the results of the polls every week. We could put up who these people, who the fans think, and we go from there. Yeah. All right, so thanks everybody. Shout out to everybody who wait 1 second. Shout out to everybody who came in. Go ahead.
Sorry, before we guys gonna get one shout out. Shout out to friends of shows and co-star Stormy Maya, who is expecting her very first child. She's 5 months pregnant. Shout out to her. Found out about that this weekend. Congratulations, Stormy.
Okay, shout out to Stormy Maya, of course. Yeah, so most definitely everybody who came through, shout out to y'all, chat room, everyone who came in and listened and watched, people who will be watching in the aftermath. Make sure you hit that like button coming in or going out the door. Make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button so you know when we're doing shows and we're doing things and stuff like that. And please leave a comment if you can. Why not? Give me your opinion. What do you think about this this Jonathan Majors situation? What do you think about some of the things we talked about? Leave a comment. We'll read it. When you come into the chat room, we definitely read it. And have a good one, y'all. Have a good night. Peace.